All right, thank you, and welcome to episode 11 of the Video Game Dads podcast. We are a bi-weekly independent podcast where three guys in a basement discuss gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are your trio of hosts. I am Ben.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Adam.
And Adam, where can you email us?
You can email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com.
And Shane, our Facebook?
Our Facebook's facebook.com/videogamedads.
And on Twitter at videogamedads. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, we are a family-friendly podcast, so if you want to listen to this in the car, if you're newly joining us, feel free to do so. So, guys, I think this episode we're going to end up kind of talking about what we precluded to the last episode. We're kind of cleaning, updating. It's funny when you pick a topic for the next one and you find all these like new YouTubers like will put out a new video about exactly what you were about to talk about.
Yep.
But anyway, we've got some tips. We have a couple decades worth of experience and we're crazy collectors. So we have some tips for you, things to watch out for, storage, that kind of thing. But first, before we get to that, we're going to talk about our video game book club. For those new to the podcast, our Video Game Book Club is a segment where each episode, us dads, we pick a game that is overlooked or misunderstood, most likely will not be in the top like 15% of whatever system library, and we play that in between episodes, much like a book club, and then we discuss it on the next book club, or on the next episode. We encourage our listeners to submit suggestions. We've already had a few of those for our Video Game Book Club, and then for us to discuss. You don't have to stick with whatever console we're currently on. It could be a handheld, whatever. Just include a little spiel about why you're submitting it, and it will go into our pool, and we'll randomly pick one each episode, along with a Video Game Dad pick. So that's going to be a little change in the way we do things here. Yeah. We normally alternate between the dad and the listener, but just to kind of speed things up, and we realized, like, that's only one dad pick a month. Since we're bi-weekly, we're going to do some duty and double up our game homework. But that'll also give you guys a chance to maybe have more likely to get that game, or maybe it's already in your library. So we're going to do a dad pick and a listener pick this episode. So last time the pick went to Mr. Adam.
That's right, and I picked Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, currently on the Super Nintendo. So we all played this.
Yep.
And really, for me and Adam, it was the first time we played this one.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen it a bunch of times. I actually remember being like, 12 or 13 years old and seeing this game on clearance for like $5 or something.
Oh, nice.
Really?
And I wish I would have bought it now. But yeah, so I remember seeing it, and I remember people talking about it. I think seeing commercials and things even for it, or at least advertisements in magazines.
Yeah, I did too.
Thing. But yeah, never, somehow it always got away from me. But it's a Konami game. And I was thinking, when I first started playing it, I was like, oh, this music, it doesn't really sound like a Konami game as far as the music goes, which makes sense because it was developed by LucasArts. Mm-hmm. And LucasArts, I heard that they did something called Star Wars. I'm not really sure what that is, but it's they made some other games as well around the time. And actually, LucasArts back during this era made some really good stuff, particularly on the PC. I remember there being a lot of adventure games and that sort of thing on the PC that came out of LucasArts. But
good stuff. Indiana Jones and the Atlantis one. Did you guys ever play that one?
I never played that.
I heard it's...
I didn't play many. I didn't have a cool computer. It'd be at a friend's house. But that game is really, like, search for Atlantis or something. That is really good.
Yeah, I just remember all the LucasArts games were always a little offbeat.
Yeah, they're just sense. A little bit.
They just took weird concepts.
Yeah, kind of for the older player, not super focused towards the younger audience, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think that they developed the like Empire Strikes Back, Super Empire Strikes Back for Super Nintendo, which is just a god-awful hard game. It's brutally difficult, but fortunately this one isn't as brutally difficult.
Still tough, though.
It is tough, but it has a password system, and you can kind of go back to where you were.
Yeah, it's a cool game. How would you describe this game? It's kind of arcadey, isometric.
It's a sort of a quick pick up and play kind of game, but the basics are that you're a kid, either a boy or a girl, and they both play identically.
Oh, and they have names. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
They're weird names. Like one, it's like It's not Sonic. It's not. Dang it! I forgot.
They totally look like kids from the '90s, though. The boy has like 3D glasses on,
3D glasses,
like a Beastie
yeah,
Boy,
yeah,
and yeah,
Beastie Boy, nice. Yeah,
and the girls got the little '90s haircut, but
ponytail.
Both characters play identically, as near as I can tell. And same weapons and all that kind of thing. It's just
at least they're very different sprites as well.
They're very different sprites.
And if you're playing 2-player, one has to be the boy and one has to be the girl character. But basically the way that the game works is it's a top-down overhead run and gun kind of game. You can think of it as sort of being like a really updated Robotron or Smash TV, but
Gauntlet,
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet,
But the screen scrolls like a Gauntlet would, kind of thing, and there's characters that just repeatedly respawn after you kill them, and so it's a lot of chasing and running and trying not to get hit and those kinds of things. But
a lot of levels too.
A lot. I think it's like 45 or 50 levels in this whole thing.
So you get your a good bang for your buck for this game. How much does this game run right now?
Right now, if you were to go buy it, you can get a loose cart for the SNES for about $30-$35.
Okay, and pretty common-ish.
Yeah, it's common-ish.
People want it, so that's why it beckons the 30 to 40. It's common, but it's a good game.
And I'd say
sort of like a Contra style.
Sure,
you're not going to beat it in an hour or two, so it's money well spent.
Yeah, sure, and this game is also available on the Genesis, and I've never played the Genesis version either, obviously, but
I haven't either.
But it is cheaper on the Genesis.
Okay,
you can get the cart for the Genesis for somewhere around $20 or so.
Cool.
So it is a little bit cheaper on the Genie, but so you run around and there's all these zombies, depending on the level. Some levels it's zombies.
Yeah, every level is different.
And then it starts being pod people, and then it starts. I don't know. There's a bunch of different.
They
things,
had a baby one.
Yeah,
throwing axes
there's
at
little babies.
Oh man, they're the worst.
Yeah, but there's a lot of tropes from different like horror movies.
There's like a Jason with a chainsaw that comes after you.
Looks like Jason with the chainsaw. So basically, you're running from all these people, trying not to get killed, and you're trying to rescue your neighbors,
which is admirable. That's nice.
So you run around trying to avoid all these people. Then there's keys, and you pick up the keys so that you can open up houses, or different people's yards and that sort of thing to get in to quote unquote save them. If you don't save them in time, or the zombies get to them before you do, they die.
They die and lose.
How many neighbors can die before that level's kaput?
Honestly,
I don't know, because I kind of get through it. There's a little map. I always
either beat the level or die. before that happens.
Okay, so it's a good amount of time. Co-op though, I was only able to play single player until tonight, where I got to play co-op, and that's a lot of fun. That's a really good co-op game.
Yeah, it is. It is a good co-op game, and it plays really well in co-op too. There's no slowdown or anything, so it's a good co-op.
Good pick up and play too. Yeah,
it's got good power ups too. Like I like the weapons and stuff. I got soda cans, sort of like a grenade, pretty much. And the squirt gun. Actually, squirt gun's the main gun that you get, but it's actually probably the best.
Yeah, it's like a popsicle you can throw at people.
Yeah, popsicle. Yeah, you got popsicle.
There's a bazooka.
Bazooka, so you could
that bazooka's legit, man. Like I shot it and I shot back like 20 feet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that squirt gun's pretty good. It's like one hit kill. You just destroy those zombies in one hit.
Yeah, honestly, the squirt gun is better than most of the power ups. I feel like so I would always get the power ups and be like, "This thing sucks. It's hard to hit anybody." So I'd go back to the squirt gun that you have at the beginning. However, you do have it's not infinite ammo. You do have
you do have to refill it.
You will run out.
But you got a good amount as long as you're not going crazy.
Just hold it. Yeah, you just can't hold down the button, which
like Smash TV.
And then there's other funny power ups like there's a clown.
Where you can block them. Yeah, and then it'll sit there and keep chopping.
You fool the enemies. You put up your little clown, and then they attack it rather than attacking you.
Yep. Yeah. They get stuck on.
Kind of colorful too. The style of this game is very like pop fiction. The front. You were saying the start menu's got this cool like I don't know, like Fallout, like the fake kind of video alternate universe that's similar, kind of like Pleasantville type thing. Yeah. Like once they get color, it kind of feels like that. Like it's a a generic neighborhood slash like the neighborhood that Edward Scissorhands was in.
Yeah.
kind of
Sure,
fake.
Pleasantville.
Yeah, just kind of overly colorful. And also there's there's only like 10 different types of neighbors. You pointed out something interesting.
Yeah,
Adam.
I thought that when you rescue the neighbors, there's a little bit of sexism in the game. Because the fat guy who's flipping hamburgers, he's only worth like 100 points. That would be us.
The same now points as a dog. So the dog and the big guy.
100.
But how about the cheerleader? How much?
The
do they worth?
cheerleader is worth 1,000 points.
Awesome. Okay.
And so I thought that was, and the baby's worth quite a bit more, which I can understand the baby.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's like Titanic. Women and children worth more valuable than us guys. We
exactly.
we go down with the ship.
The middle-aged dudes that were pretty expendable. So don't waste your time trying to save those guys.
Yeah, don't.
There's also a potion power up where you could like turn into a monster and you could bust through walls too. That's really awesome. That one was cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
You move faster and stuff. I think what else?
It's not, how long would it take? You can't beat it in one sitting. It's password based, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it doesn't save on the cart, which is pretty normal for that stuff back then, and you don't have to worry about the battery. And I did notice, just kind of an aside, is I saw when I was looking up this game how much it would cost. I sent you guys a link. There's an eBay ending randomly, like in 10 minutes, and it was like an alternate cover of this game, Zombie Ate My Neighbors. And I was like, look at this game, guys. It's going for $500, and there's like 20 minutes left, and then every minute was another like $20-$30. It ended on $811.
Wow, I didn't see the final price on it.
$811.
That was just for the box too.
People
wasn't it?
are crazy for the Super Nintendo. That was all complete.
Oh, was it complete?
Yeah,
but still,
it's nuts. I have quite a few Super Nintendo games just from what I picked up at garage sales and that sort of thing. But as far as like specifically going out and actively getting Super Nintendo games, I don't do it just because it's crazy expensive. The NES is expensive and it kind of has the reputation of being expensive. Mm-hmm. Nothing next to Super Nintendo. Yeah. There are a handful of NES games that are really expensive and all the rest are really pretty cheap for the most part. But Super Nintendo, there's like a good solid chunk of that catalog that is all super high dollar stuff.
Yeah. How many? What's the library? What's the library count on the Super Nintendo?
Oh,
I don't want to put you on the spot. I figure
it's around 800.
800. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So around Nintendo.
Don't quote me on that, but
right around Nintendo though. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot on that, and it is very good, and it ages, of course, so much better than say like a PS1 or something like that, where we go into new polygonal. Stone Age-ness of 3D gaming. You had to pave the way. Everybody kind of trashes on it, but like you couldn't have the PS2 without the PS1. You couldn't have the PS3 without, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But Super Nintendo does hold up, and you can play that thing for the rest of your life.
I don't know. Super Nintendo, it's all about the sound of Super Nintendo. I just like the way the games have a certain sound to them.
Sure.
And the graphics too, but there's just something that's very, well, it was my console, I guess, during that generation.
Me too.
But I played a lot of Genesis though during that generation as well. But Super Nintendo just feels right for some reason. Like of games from that generation, they just feels the way that they should. They play the way that they should.
Yeah.
But other people apparently have the same opinion. Otherwise, it would be so crazy expensive.
Yeah, that and 64 are not the thing if you're a new collector to maybe grab now. But anyway, back to the game. Shane, you used to play this, right?
Yeah, I used to play this.
And you kind of played it before, so you had a good memory of it, and you kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then even going back to it, it holds up really well. I mean, I love like when opening stages, it's got sort of like a title screen, like everywhere that you're going to go. Like if you're going into like a supermarket, it lays out like, I can't remember the name of it, but it breaks it down like the title, and so it's just really cool.
Yeah,
it's just got a really cool feel to it and sound and everything.
Yeah, and this was another one that I missed growing up, but
you're
I played
too
it
scared
now.
to play it before.
I know.
Right?
I can't believe I said that. I don't know if too scared was the right word. It was just more like Zombie Ate My Neighbors. All four of those words were nothing that I wanted to play.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I don't know. It just. But I definitely missed out because I didn't know it was like a popcorny fun type whatever.
It definitely has a sort of a. I mean, the game is a campy game. I mean, that's
super campy. Yeah, that's a good word.
And it's a and it's a campy name for a campy game.
Yeah,
and I think that the irony of the name was lost on me too. Whenever I was a kid, I was
we don't.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. How do you even make a game?
No, I thought it was like an eating game or something, or it was just like Addams Family. Because I saw some pics, I was like, well, the Addams Family game or the Pugsley or Fester's Quest or something. I thought it was just like another Fester's Quest, which it's not. But anyway, you've got a Nintendo Power in front
Yeah,
of
I
you.
actually pulled out the Nintendo Power with the preview slash
Preview, yeah, this is
strategy,
super cool,
for
man.
this. And this is how they describe it. Konami's funky new Super NES title may be reminiscent of a bad horror flick, but the game is first-rate fun. It's 45 levels with names like Terror on Aisle 5, Chopping Mall, and
Yep.
Mars Needs Cheerleaders.
Nice.
It's packed with zombies, aliens, chainsaw-wielding maniacs, and several other monsters. It also has a password feature and kind of lists some other
Yeah.
things, but it's just even the way that they advertise it.
Advertise
Nintendo
it, yeah.
Power
And those
is
keeping
pretty campy.
score at home. That's a Nintendo Power August 1991 with Vega on the cover. I only know that because I just looked at the back of it while he was reading that whole spiel. I love Vega though, man. That's one of my favorite Super Nintendo characters.
Yeah,
I might
that's-
have to
yeah,
pick
he's
that one
super
up.
cool.
Really, I never liked Vega.
You never
didn't
did?
like Vega?
I never
He
was
was
any
hard
good.
to fight with,
I never
man.
was any
Yeah.
good with him. And for those that don't know, we're referencing Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
What did I say? I said something. Anyway, yeah,
You said,
Street
you
Fighter
said Vega, yeah.
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 He was very hard. Yeah, he's hard to fight with, man. He sort of jumps around really quick and stuff.
Yeah, but it's a cool, really, really good game. I think it's another game that is a good suggestion because it's kind of worth what it's going for now. You can still maybe find it in the wild. You can trade for it. A good thing to add to your collection. Another good thing to play with kids or wife. Or both, I guess, or have the wife play with the kid, whatever you want. Because really, you kind of can just aimlessly walk around. You kind of figure out what you do the more you play. And it's what's the dice when you die? Does it replay that same level? I never died.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
You'll go back and I think it's every fourth level or so you get that you.
Yeah, you get kicked back far.
Yeah, it will. That's where it gives you a passcode. Like you have to go another 3 or 4 levels.
Oh,
and it
okay,
gives you
so
a
it's not
passcode,
every
and
level.
so,
Yeah, you just don't get exactly right on that level. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the bazooka is nice because you can bust through the walls.
Well,
Did
so you
already
don't
say
have
that?
to use your keys.
Yeah.
Yep. So you don't have to use your keys up.
Yeah,
Or if you don't have a key, you could bust in there and then see what's inside there too.
Yeah. Did we talk about the music in that specific game? Very good too.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good music.
Yeah,
Yes.
music's real good. So that was our pick of last episode 10 of the Video Game Book Club by Adam. Zombie Ate My Neighbors. Pick it up. We like it. We like it a lot.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
good.
get it.
All right, so next, as I alluded to earlier, we are going to have a Video Game Dad pick. I am up, and we are still on the Super Nintendo, but we're also going to have a listener pick to kind of get this thing rolling. So again, everybody make some suggestions out there. So if we're not near running out yet, but it can be across any system you want. Just let us know. You can email us, Twitter us, or message us on Facebook about it. I'm going to go ahead and make my pick now. I'm kind of excited about this pick because I actually think this one is a pretty good hidden game that I didn't even know about till recently when I kind of picked it up on a whim just because I looked it up and it was worth a little bit. Never saw the cover before, saw a couple still frames of the game. Then I started to play it and I just instantly fell in love with it, and I want more people to play this game, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think of it, and then maybe our audience too. And that is Sky Blazer for the Super Nintendo.
Sky Blazer.
Sky Blazer. So
It
if you-
sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Kind of also sounds
Very 90s.
generic, which
Yeah.
might have. So this one came out. This one just came out in 1994. A lot of good action platformers came out. This is an action platformer.
It probably just drowned in the sea
It
of
did.
other action platformers.
That's
It
Probably
did.
so,
It was a
yeah.
little later in the system life. Of course, we're only talking a couple years. But back then, consoles lives we're about 5 years now. They're longer. But boy, a really good game. I think retail, it is around $50 or so. But you never know where or what you can find it. Some collectors might already have it in their possession. You could trade for it. It is published by Sony, of all things.
That was back when they were Sony ImageSoft.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sony
Yeah.
Sony ImageSoft. It is a really cool game. I hope a lot of our listeners haven't heard of this one, but I played through it and enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot of kind of homages to other platformers, but it does a few other things different. So Sky Blazer for the Super Nintendo is going to be our Video Game Dad's book club pick for the next episode. And now, Adam, you've got our listener picks ready in a pool.
I do. I'm going to add one. I have an email here from Justin. And he says he enjoyed the mini episode. For those that haven't listened, I made a little mini episode about the Vectrex, just a little thing for my collection that most people don't know about that I think is kind of cool. So I'm glad he enjoyed it. I'll
Yeah.
probably end up making some more of those at some
Awesome.
point. But,
Yeah, that was a good episode.
and then And basically, he says he just picked up a GameCube, so he's going to be getting going on that. And kudos, because
Awesome.
GameCube
GameCube's
is
good.
arguably my favorite console. I'm not sure about that, but it's
You
it's
were
right up
heavy
there.
into that when I first met you. You were
Dude, I love
collecting
the
heavy.
game.
Yeah, you
I
were
love
collecting
the
heavy for it.
GameCube. And
That's
nobody,
funny because that's one of the things I don't really collect anymore. I collected the GameCube in like 2000 before I knew you
Yeah,
guys
you
in
used to,
2007 or something, before anybody really collected stuff. And I was just like, oh, the GameCube. Let me go find all the good games on the system. And I did, and I looked at like like early YouTube, pre-YouTube, the top 20 games, bought them all, played through them, and then when the Wii came out and knew that it can all play on the Wii, I just like sold it all. I don't super regret it either. I know the GameCube's cool. I would have kept it if I still did, but I played all the like Beautiful Joe and what's the Solid Snake, Twin Snakes.
Twin Snakes.
I love that
Very
game.
The
good.
whole
That's
story
one
of
the
that
best,
is cool. How that started out, two guys having coffee and like, hey, bring it to my console, okay, and they ported it over, and it's a great port. But
Yep.
yeah, I just don't collect for the GameCube at all. But I love those little discs. Those are kind of cool.
No,
I love
like
it.
I said, I feel like sometimes I'm the only person that does love the cube. But
Sorry, what did this guy pick?
I really
What's
like
his
it.
name?
His name is Justin, and he picked Crash Bandicoot Tag Team Racing. So
Oh, cool.
CTR.
Oh, is that
Awesome.
for the PlayStation?
Yeah,
All right.
PlayStation, awesome.
Our first
At least I'm
PlayStation.
assuming that's the one. I think maybe there's one for PS2 as well. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
about
no,
that,
I think you are right. There might be a
But
second
yeah,
one.
let's say it's the PS1 one.
I think it is.
because I know I have that one.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's
I'll
the
go
more
with that.
famous one. So I have heard a lot of people who didn't play or maybe weren't in quite the same age group as Super Mario Kart
Yep.
played this one, and this was their kart racer. If they weren't a Nintendo person,
Yep.
they never played a real kart racer, and this evidently is a really good one.
Yeah.
And hey, a good kart racer is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can't be good kart racing.
yeah, and it'd be interesting because I wouldn't know
fun.
what the characters were outside of Crash. I wonder what all the characters are. We'll find out.
Yeah, I
if
guess
it's
we'll
picked.
find out. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah, if
played
it-
it yet, so that's
So
awesome.
We'll put that in the pool. Do you want to go ahead and do your randomizer?
Sure. So I'm going to hit
Shake
the
it up.
randomizer here. And our next listener pick is Harrier from Ian.
Oh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
Harrier for the Sega Genesis.
Sega Gen?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and check.
think it's
yeah, but
Harrier
I think
EX.
so. It looks like I might be buying Harrier.
Harrier EX.
No,
I
you're
think.
right. Harrier EX for the Sega Genesis. This is also a real cool game that I looked up way back. I think someone suggested this back on episode 3 or 4. Hopefully you're still listening,
Yeah.
Ian, because you just got picked for our listener pick. So we're going to do Sky Blazer for the Super Nintendo. We're going to give some love over on the Genesis side because that's what we do.
And then
We're
we can
equal
all
opportunities.
sit around and argue about which one's better.
Oh, I know.
Genesis or
Yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Versus.
That's right.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis.
Yeah, man, you're getting passionate over there.
Yeah.
You're breaking stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, Harrier does what Nintendo don't, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it also has blast processing.
Yep.
Hey,
Blast processing. Oh,
There's nothing
man.
better. Maybe the emotion engine. I don't know. The cell processor. The Kinect. Wah, wah. No, sorry. We were going so good until I mentioned
Yeah,
that.
I forgot all about the emotion engine. That was PS2.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was a great buzzword because
really
people
was,
ate
yeah.
it up and people bought the crap out of that console
Yeah.
for sure. It kind of helped the demise of the Dreamcast.
Yeah, the cell was the PS3, and all the marketing around the PS3 launch. Just to go on a tangent here
Bizarre.
for a second. Yeah, so weird.
Super
like
bizarre.
we're gonna have the cell processor, and I remember when PS3 came out and they had the little crying baby.
Crying baby in the room.
Commercial.
Yes. Yeah. Look this up if you get.
Yeah.
Just do PS3 crying baby, but don't do this at night with the lights off. I'm
Yeah,
just fair warning.
it is the weirdest commercial I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Really?
Super weird.
And
I haven't seen it. I have to
well,
look
the
it up.
PS3 sold like, it was a dud when they launched it. It was
Yeah.
way too
Well,
expensive.
because it was
and-
expensive.
Yeah,
It was,
and they
si-
didn't sell any of them, and the marketing
700?
was weird.
$700.
Yeah, I think it was $699.
$690.
Yeah.
That's crazy right
Yeah.
now to think about.
Anything
'Cause
past
that's-
500.
Yeah, I remember.
It's a hard sell.
Was it E3 where they showed the launch price, and you could just hear this audible.
Yeah. And that's when they had
In the room.
the boomerang controller.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, the
I mean,
boomerang.
for
Yeah.
that's how the PlayStation 3 did turn itself around, and they're still making games for that.
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
the PS3.
Yeah,
but,
so,
but yeah, it did not have a good launch.
No, you should see that. It's basically a crying baby, and then at the end, like the PlayStation's just kind of floating there, and it says like,
Yeah, it's got
Play
telekinesis. It's got
Play Beyond.
It's got upset, awkward infants.
Yeah.
It's just so
Wow.
weird.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did like that one. Do you remember the commercial where they talked to they said like, oh, introducing the PlayStation 9, and it had it like basically like neurosynapse. You're playing it like in your head.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, and I think that was actually with the PS2. It was like before PS9, here comes PS2. So that was the PS2, but that was a pretty cool ad.
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
look that up too. But yeah, man, video game ads. That's another reason to get these magazines. Nintendo Power. We had an episode a few episodes ago, if you're newly joining us, where we talked about magazines. Something I think we did mention, man, video game ads. Some of the best stuff.
They are
some
so weird.
stuff.
And
You could take them out and frame those things.
yeah, I mean, if you want to know what was cool or what the kids were doing, or it's more what the adults thought the kids thought was
Thought were
cool.
cool. Yeah,
you know,
you
back
could-
at the time.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this was boardroom stuff. And also talk about like sexist. Some of this stuff, like what was this PS1 game where they were totally playing up the female on female? Oh, Fear Effect. Did you guys
Oh
remember?
yeah, I kind of vaguely remember.
So
this.
Fear Effect. Okay, like I'll have to show you this to you guys. They really played up. There was two female protagonists, and they totally played up the whole like they were kind of in love with each other. It was kind of like whoa, like
Yeah.
they're pushing the envelope here.
Really?
And equally cool, especially when you're a little boy.
Yeah.
I think they sold a lot of copies. I
Well,
don't know
it's
how well
sort
that
of
came.
weird. I think somewhat spiritually. Nintendo's always been like the family friendly, straight laced, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
Zelda is very asexual.
Well, but when Sega tanked, at least in the console wars and stopped making consoles, Sony kind of assumed the responsibility of being the Well, yeah, like we're going to do things that Nintendo don't,
Yeah,
kind of thing. Even
sure.
though they
We'll
didn't.
fill in that,
And
yeah.
then later on when Xbox came around, it's kind of more Xbox maybe fills that void now. I'm not sure.
Now
but
it does,
it's just
yeah.
kind of funny. There's always the bad boy,
Yeah,
on the
the
block.
bad boy on the block, yeah.
and
We're gonna fill that
Which
role.
totally isn't the 1-2 switch. Nintendo is still not the
Nintendo's
bad
is
boy.
very-
if
yeah,
go
you know what you're getting with
Yeah,
Nintendo.
if you go back in all those magazines from the PS1 era, the innuendo is
dude.
just. I mean, it's. It's not subtle at all. Like
Yeah.
they really were like, it's all 13-year-old potty humor. The
Yeah.
eighth graders will think this is funny. That kind of stuff.
Conquer. One thing Nintendo did. Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Even though that was kind of like they.
How
it
rare
was-
ever got that made? I don't know.
Yeah, there's actually a good interview out there. I need to remember. Maybe we can link to it. Sorry, I don't want to make Adam do extra work after the show, but it's a
Chris Stamper, I believe. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and it's an interview with the guy, and he kind of just said how much he pushed to do this. Originally, Conquer's Bad Fur Day for the Nintendo 64 started its life being very much like Banjo-Kazooie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Banjo-Kazooie was super like, cutesy collectathon, and
yeah.
Conquer was going to be that too. And then when Banjo came out, they're like, oh, well, we can't do this. This
Yeah.
is like a clone of Banjo. So what they do, man, they went 100% the other way. There was a commercial that only aired in Europe. And it was, do you know what I'm talking about already?
No, I don't know what it is. I just think it's funny that it's anything violent can't air in Europe and airs here.
Yeah.
Anything with really bad potty humor, okay for
Europe,
not
but
for
not
Yeah,
here.
and this was
Yeah,
basically
it's just
weird.
sort of
Yeah.
funny the way that works.
So
Yeah,
Conker's a squirrel, and in the video game, his girlfriend squirrel is well endowed. We'll just say that. So in the commercial, it was a real life squirrel. So you actually kind of saw this weird like. What is it when
I
you
have
stuff-
seen this on YouTube,
When you
by the way.
stuff a squirrel, was it called like those
Taxidermy?
It was like a taxidermy squirrel. They were moving the mouth to, and then a real life lady of the night in the bed, and they were the bed was shaking, noises were heard, and yeah, that wouldn't have lasted in the U.S. But
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Again, YouTube it. Conker's Bad Fur Day commercial banned or something like that, and you can
Yeah.
check it out.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, so those are going to be our picks, right?
Those are our
Yep,
picks.
those
are our
So
picks.
Harrier and Skyblazer.
Here in Skyblazer, our video game book club for next episode. All right. Hey, so we are happy Easter, guys.
Yeah.
It's Easter
Yeah,
today.
Easter,
yeah,
yeah.
this is Easter evening. I know Adam and I are both kind of working on the side. We have our phones close to us, but
Yeah.
it's still Easter. Did you do anything, Shane?
Yeah, we just did some eggs this morning. We went over to our in-laws, went over there and did the eggs with the kids, and my sister and her family came over, and we did the eating and all that jazz.
That was always fun, man. I do remember Easter egg
That
hunts.
was always the best. I love
I don't
Easter
know
egg
why.
hunts.
Is it just the fact that it's like you're searching for something?
Yeah,
Yeah. Easter and they wouldn't be hit all well. We used to have neighborhood Easter egg hunts, and we still have.
You know what? I always hated like the big group ones like that.
Really?
When you go do that like the day before or something. I always hated those. I always liked the ones at home better.
Did you guys dye real eggs or did you do the plastic ones?
No, we didn't dye eggs this year just because my son would just go crazy.
When I was a kid, we would always dye, and we've done it a couple times. You know,
Yeah,
with
the
our
little
kid.
metal thing.
The metal. Yeah,
you
dip
dipped it
down
in
like you're
and
slowly like killing the egg. Like I would always be really like I love that part.
talk
of it.
egg. Who did it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the weird thing where you could put the sheath on it and somehow it like dries.
Like the
and
shrink wrap,
freezes
the shrink wrap one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
bizarre
I always
stuff.
thought those were fun because you would, at least as a kid, we'd hide a bunch of them or whatever, but there would invariably always be one that didn't get discovered.
Oh, yeah.
And so then you would walk outside like 4 or 5 days later and be like, "What is that horrible smell?"
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
it was the lost egg declaring itself.
It's so funny when we do the Easter eggs hunt because me and my wife always do the eggs for the family, and we fill them up with the candy and stuff because
Yeah.
we do the fake eggs and stuff. But we do like 4 or 5 with money, and the kids always ask, "How much money's in there? Where are they at? Where are they?" I mean, they're always trying to find out just a little bit of info on them. It's like, man,
I had a really bad experience last Easter because my kid was 2 at the time, and we took him to one of those community ones like you're talking about. And so all these kids are like 1.5, 2 years old. So, just kind of the stumbly sort of age kind of thing. And so, and it's the plastic eggs, and the people had, packed them beforehand. And so, he goes and picks all these eggs up, and then we get the eggs, and we're starting to open them up, and it was nothing for the most part other than Tootsie Rolls, Now and Laters, all these candies that like little kids that age can't have.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because of the choking hazard.
Yep.
And there was gum, the big chew bubble gum thing,
man.
like the Bubble King or whatever.
So what can they? Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, my kid. Oh, we always kind of forget. Maybe we'll do the beginning. You have a 3.5
Yeah.
year old Adam, and Shane. You've got 3 kids.
Yeah,
What are the
3
ages,
kids.
real quick?
3. Well, they're about to be 3, 2, 1. I mean, 3, 2, 1.
Boom. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Boom. There
Yeah,
you go.
3, 2, 1, boom. That's about Shane. That's about right. Always when I show up at your house before we come over here, you look at about 3, 2, 1, boom. You're like, we always go to the gas station.
It's like a familial tsunami
Yeah.
at Shane's house.
We
Yeah.
get our energy shakes and energy drinks. Yeah,
no
energy
shakes.
shakes. Yeah, and then I've got a almost 7 week old.
weeks
So
old,
yeah,
yeah.
we're all legit dads at this point.
Yeah, my kid's 3, and even now, like if you give him a piece of bubble gum, he's like he chews it twice and swallows.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like you can't.
So
you
what
can't
can
do gum.
kids eat? So I don't even know yet. 'Cause mine can't eat anything.
My wife's more in charge of that stuff than I am.
Okay.
If I think it's even questionable, I don't give it to him.
Well, like M&Ms, obviously, right?
Yeah, M&Ms are fine
fine.
because they can chew them up, but things that are hard to chew, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
gum,
Yeah.
stoppers, jawbreaker kinds
Yeah.
of things they can't have. Now and laters they can't have.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tootsie Rolls. My kid can do. He can't do the big fat ones anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
lollipops, right?
yeah.
Who
Yeah.
suckers. Who calls it a lollipop?
Lollipops.
I felt weird saying that.
Lollipop.
Do you like a lollipop? I just think about that little.
yeah, for all the
Have a
1950s
lollipop.
children.
Yeah, the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns is like tiny skipping through, and he's like has a British accent for whatever reason. He's licking the big spiral lollipop. Those things, by
yeah.
the way, I remember as a kid, I thought those were awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten one of those spiral big ass lollipops?
Yeah.
Big booty lollipops.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They aren't very good.
No, they're not good. They're never good. Those things are horrible.
Yeah,
And they're
that's an
always
inferior
broken.
candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go.
You have to like break them down pretty much so then you can like chew on. Because I'm not one of those ones that can just keep there and keep licking. You have to.
Yeah,
I like this.
and you look like an idiot,
Yep.
like carrying that thing around.
Yeah.
and it's going to get stuck to something. It's going to hit your shirt, and also it's going to get your nose wet. I remember that because
Yeah,
I
there
licked it.
is
I was like, I
something.
got sticky stuff.
It's
on there.
scientifically proven your IQ does go down by 40 points when you're holding a lollipop.
Yeah, completely. And you also have to have one of those beanies with a propeller on
Yeah,
it
exactly.
in order to have your lollipop correctly.
Looking like Ness.
Oh man, yeah. Even Nestor had a backwards hat. He was way cooler. He never had a lollipop. But
Yeah.
I will say a lollipop is a pretty common power-up or health item because it's probably easy to draw in a Sprite form, I'm guessing,
That's-
right?
that's probably-
So it's a
probably.
chicken leg or something like that, and the candy would always be generic like candy, and then you get a lollipop kind of on its side or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
last Easter was tough because he got all these eggs, and then we had to be like, you can't have any of this candy that you just collected.
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to sort of like
Swap
get him. It was sort of, yeah, we got him away from it, and then we stopped somewhere on the way home and got him,
just
got him
something,
like bright colors over here, and then gave him candy that he,
Oh,
that he
man.
could,
Pulled
that he
that
could
move.
actually eat. But
That's good stuff.
But any kind of Easter candy that is Reese's peanut butter cups in a different form, that's the best Easter.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I love the
eggs.
big Easter egg, like the Easter egg Reese's, like 'cause it's got tons more of like peanut butter in it, more than chocolate.
Yeah, those things
that's
are
my
a
favorite.
neutron star of calories.
Oh
They're awesome.
man,
Yeah.
I ate 6 of them at like 1:00 last night because we were filling the eggs late last night.
You're like sweating mayonnaise.
Yeah, one for you, 2 for me. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a Cadbury fan. I don't know what we're talking about, all these candy things. But Cadbury, you guys like the eggs?
No, it's too
I
sweet.
I like one, but then I'm done with those. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I
It's too
always
much.
I always
Yeah,
try
it's
it.
too
Like as a
much.
kid, I was like, oh man, I mean these are popular, and you start to eat it, you're like, what this filling? But a lot of people love it. So if you love your Cadbury eggs, you feel free to love it. More for you, less for me.
I like the Little Robin's eggs. They're like Whoppers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you like those?
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
I don't like those.
But not like Whopper. You mean the ones that like look like real eggs? Like you put them in a nest, they pass for a robin egg. The ones that are
I
kind of
think so. Aren't they?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Whoppers?
They've got a little
Or am I
kid-
thinking of something
Those
different?
are
You're thinking
Whoppers.
well, there's Whopper ones. There's a kind with a thin
must be
candy
thinking
shell
about-
with the solid chocolate in the middle. That's what I'm talking about. Robin eggs or
Have
whatever.
you guys ever seen the ones with the egg cartons? Like they're little miniature egg cartons, and they're actually like bubble gum. I thought those were the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
And the
Man.
strangest and worst of all Easter candies is the Peep.
Oh, the Peep. I
yeah,
like
they're kinda
Peeps,
weird.
Are
man.
you a Peep person?
Yeah, I'm a Peep person.
Yeah, I went to college with a guy who was a Peep person, and he would. It was
It
the
sounded
weird,
like you said something else. We're going to have to talk about this guy in a different way.
Peep.
Peep. He's a peep
He
person.
was a peep, peep person. You have to put a pause between those. He was a Peep person.
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't take any showers with these peeps.
No. But he because right after Easter you could buy you can buy 9 billion Peeps for 30 cents the day
Oh,
after
yeah.
Easter. So
Yeah.
he always had a stash of Peeps.
Yeah.
And but they were so gross, man.
They do
I
have
like them,
chocolate
man.
peeps now. Chocolate peeps are not bad.
yeah, you just eat the chocolate part and throw the.
No, they're all
they're on a marshmallow holder.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just throw that marshmallow stuff away.
Yeah.
No.
It's always all
That's-
like stale.
That's legit.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
when everything else is spoiled, that Peeps and Twinkies
Will just be sitting there.
Seriously, they'll be the last 2 edible things left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found Peeps in the Pharaoh's pyramids that are still edible. Yeah, it must be.
Oh man. So, yeah, I didn't since I was kind of on
Yeah,
call.
what'd you do?
I didn't
Like-
get to do a lot. Well, I ended up I got in a car accident. I got rear-ended at work. So I drive for work. For those who don't know, I drive a lot during the day. I was just sitting there at a stoplight, and then all of a sudden I see this flash, and I go boom. So rear-ended by this guy on his phone. Man,
Go figure.
yeah, I just dude. I don't know, 15-year-old Hyundai Sonata. His car ended up getting totaled. Mine did not, thank God, because I would have sucked. But it's been in the shop for 2 weeks, and then they gave me a rental. No one was hurt.
What kind of rental did you get?
Boy, not a good. Okay, so last time this happened, I got hail damage, and I ended up getting a Jeep Renegade that was bright orange. And the Renegade is like not a car for a guy my age at all. And whatever, it's a rental,
Yeah.
A to B, I guess. But this time another Jeep, and I got a Jeep Patriot. At least it was black, because I even told the guy, don't give me an
Bright
orange
orange.
Jeep. And he gave me a
Jeep's
Jeep
a hazard
Patriot,
car.
and man, I don't know, guys. I feel like Jeep when I was younger was a different thing because. They still make a good car. We had a fully loaded
The Grand
Cherokee.
Cherokee is still really nice, but everything below that.
Oh, man, what happened?
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
of it.
like Jeeps are always, and the Wrangler, of course, those Wrangler people with their stickers and stuff. And
yeah,
flip me
Wrangler's
o-
kind of a thing to itself.
Yeah,
so.
if you see me, flip me over or whatever they say. And it's good 4-wheel drive, but now they're not trail rated. This thing was like 2-wheel drive. It had a variable timing transmission. Have you ever been in a CVT?
I don't know.
Okay, not to get
honestly.
a CVT is basically, you know how when you drive and you can feel the shift in your car when it's an automatic. This doesn't shift. It basically spins like a go-kart.
Yeah,
top.
that's what I was going to say. They're like a golf cart.
Yeah, but it's weird when it's an underpowered engine. This is like a 4-liter small engine, and it sounds crazy. When I was accelerating, I'm like, "This is a Jeep."
Yeah, that's a
Are you
go-kart,
kidding?
man.
It just sounded like. It
Yeah.
sounded like I don't know, like Lurch from the Addams Family, like punching his munchkin in the. But it sounded like that. It was just. and it is not it's not the best car in the world. All plasticky. I don't know.
And, cheesy inside.
Do you guys remember when Jeep started making products though? And that was smart.
Oh,
on Jeep.
I remember I had a Jeep radio, man.
Oh yeah, they had like
Jeep
backpacks
and stuff. They went all
Maybe that's what happened to Jeep. They're spending all their R&D on like random stuff. Because the backpack and like those speakers. Whoever thought of that? Those sold like when I saw a Jeep speaker, I'm like, oh,
that's rugged. I can get that. I can take it anywhere.
Right.
That speaker go through the mud.
It's like
I need my speaker in the mud.
But think about that. Like if there was a Ford speaker, you'd just be like, "That's stupid. What the heck is that?" But a Jeep speaker, like
that
I
makes sense.
didn't know that existed. I don't
speaker
get
work
it.
good on a mountain.
Yeah, but I want it. Look at that
I
thing.
should go hike a mountain.
Yeah, I'm only going to have this in my backyard, but I'm going to pretend I go on adventures with this thing. But actually, what I've got for the kiddo is we got this from family friend, a Jeep baby carrier. So this is another product, and you know what? The Jeep baby carrier is a lot better than this.
Do you have Jeep
Patriot
strollers? Have you seen those things?
Yeah,
the big wheel.
Really?
Yeah. It's
that.
the off-road stroller. Huh. The off-road stroller for off-road suburban moms.
God, if they would have given me that as a rental, I would have liked it more than this Jeep Patriot. There's a 2017. I was like, this car must be old. I don't know, but no, it was 2017. I'm like, ooh, long in the tooth. But I do have a carrier that I'm now putting my new baby in, and it's great to have my hands free. It's the one time if I'm watching the kid because we're trading off again. He's like seven weeks old, so still a busy guy. But I put him in that thing and start walking. He falls right asleep. It's pretty awesome. It just fits right on. He has to face you because he doesn't have the neck control yet.
Yeah, to be out. Yeah,
but. Boy, that's great, and that's a Jeep product, so that one's not bad. But anyway, I got the old car back. That's kind of what I ended up doing. I played a little here and there. What about you, Adam? How was your Easter week? Anything swell?
I mean, it's gone okay. I have to be back here for work today on Easter, so we kind of did Easter over the last couple of days. So I drove my wife and kid down to Oklahoma. They're down there with family right now, and I flew back last night.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ubered back to the house. I traveled a lot, just over the last couple of days. But that's basically it. I mean, we did the basket and the standard Easter fare. But nothing too over the top.
Yeah. Easter grass. What's a good Easter?
Did you do Easter pictures with the? Did you guys do Easter pictures with the kids?
You mean like with the
bunny? Big bunny.
Dude, Grayson like freaks out with the Easter
so
bunny. He totally loses his.
Yeah.
We have some really good pictures of him near an Easter bunny, but we think they're funny.
Yeah.
If we get him anywhere near an Easter bunny, he's going to need therapy. So we don't. We
did our neighborhood one. They had the big Easter bunny there, and Deacon was like, looked at him and was like, wouldn't come in within 20 feet of him.
Yeah, no, man.
Our littlest though, Lucille, we just handed it to her, and she was smiling away.
Yeah, around 2 or so, anybody in a costume, he started being like, that's not right.
I don't blame him, man. There's some of those costumes, a little freaky.
Yeah, I was trying to think like Tiny Toon Adventures. There's not like a specific Easter video game, is there? This is challenging for us, our collector mindset here.
There's the Bible game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could do Bible game.
Yeah, there's Bible game for PS2.
I see what you did there with that. Yeah, we forget. Easter's not about the bunnies, is it?
Yeah, there's Bible Adventure for NES.
The Bible game on Xbox and PS2.
Yeah.
I swear
that's
there's
about
something.
it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few games where the bunny's the main guy.
There's King of Kings on the NES. That's
another.
Those are all wisdom tree
stuff.
Non-official games.
I'm trying to think of like a bunny game.
You know what? There's a level. I really like Gex Enter the Gecko for the original PlayStation. There's a level where he's a bunny and he's basically like getting he's in bunny ears and stuff in this like fake land. He's picking up Easter eggs and stuff. That one's pretty good.
Jumpin' Jack Flash, PS1.
Yeah.
Gex would be a cooler Easter mascot than a bunny.
A gecko. Yeah.
Gecko.
Like a wisecracking gecko.
Oh, we should make a car insurance company about that.
We should.
And give him a little
when I first saw like the Geico commercials,
yes.
just as I'm going to take a tangent from your tangent, I literally thought it was Gex from the games. I was like like,
cool.
oh, there's a new Gex game, and then there's like buy insurance, and I was like, what?
Gex sold out.
Yeah,
He's always like drinking coffee. He was a cute little mascot. He's always like, hello, yes, I want to talk about you. It's a lot better. Yeah. What is that? Insurance companies having mascots. That's a thing.
That is
been
a thing.
That's right.
forever.
I refuse to, and no offense to anybody who's already done it, but I won't buy insurance from a cartoon character.
Yeah,
I won't
the
do it.
general?
Yeah, the general insurance.
Oh, boy, the
Geico
general.
with
That
That's
where it's like,
something.
hey, you got in a few wrecks and no one else will take you. The general will take
Hey,
you.
you just got into wreck. Give us a call real quick. We'll insure you.
Yeah.
We'll give you some fake documents.
Yeah, and it's like on a continuous loop. The animation isn't that quality.
Oh man, it's so
Oh
bad.
man.
Yeah, but I actually changed my insurance. I'm going to take another tangent. I changed my insurance a few months ago, or about a year ago now, because I thought because I used to have Progressive insurance.
Yeah, Flo.
Flo got too annoying. I couldn't take her anymore, so I changed.
Just because of flow.
Just
wow.
because of
Yeah.
flow.
Well, we had some other things too, but I was like,
okay.
yeah, we got to jettison this.
Okay, I was gonna say it's just like she's saving us $800, but
No,
I
but
don't
it was
trust
part
this
of
Flo.
it. I literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was part of it. Like I got to not have that anymore.
Yeah, I did.
Those have run their course.
One can say Adam didn't go with the flow. And on our next segment, we will talk about now the upkeep of games. Oh, I will say we really appreciate anybody. So we're a new podcast. We're independent. You know, we're in the red. You know, we just host our stuff. We don't have any sponsors or anything yet. We really appreciate all the word of mouth. So that you guys
definitely.
give us. So any kind of reviews or anything on iTunes, especially, that helps us work up. I did notice, guys, when you search Video Game Podcast, we are the 17th podcast that pops up.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but actually there's a lot of that's including the big mainstream ones like Game Informer, Giant Bomb and stuff. As far as like independent podcasts, it's neat that there's not a whole bunch ahead that, you know, then more people can find us if they so choose us to think that we're interesting. I have to say, we did get our first kind of negative review, and we should take the good with the bad.
I actually, I'm bringing it up right now.
And it's, you know, I think
It's like semi-quasi bad good.
If we're gonna get a bad review, I guess it should be one that maybe we take some good constructive criticism from. But this was funny. This was like he gave us a 3 out of 5, like basically 60%, and he said he really liked our video game content.
Yeah.
And then he really liked our fatherhood content, but together it was not good. And he was like, that was it. It was basically like, the content's good, but mixed together, it's not good. And I'm like, okay, what's the name of our podcast, guys?
Yeah, Video Game.
Video Game
it's
Dads.
kind of hard to
yeah,
separate
so
the
we
two.
don't want to surprise anybody, but we're like, okay, what are we going to do with that, man? Thanks.
It's sort of like you like chocolate chip cookies, but I don't like the chocolate chips in the cookies.
Yeah,
like,
so,
right? I don't
yeah,
know. That's
I
the way
don't
I
know.
sort of referred it as. It's like,
Yeah,
but I
so-
guess thanks.
So that's why if
sort
you
of
do
not.
like our
I don't know.
content and it helps maybe cancel out that kind of stuff so we could be seen again. Again, we just do this for fun, guys. So like, I guess nothing good could come out of that where we just like don't like the video games, don't like the concept.
We do really enjoy the reviews, and positive reviews do help us a lot. So feel
we
free to hit us with positive reviews. If you have critiques, maybe send us an email. But yeah, we're always good for feedback and like hearing what you guys want to hear out of us, and those kinds of things and suggestions are always
And
welcome.
we always try to add them on the show and everything. So.
Yeah, I didn't like them together. And he said like segue, and I'm like, it is kind of hard. Like you saying, like it's kind of a jarring talk when we talk about one or the other. But I'm thinking like, how could we have made this guy a 5-star review? You know, you think about that. If someone doesn't like something, what could we have done? I'm thinking like, are we like a weatherman segue? Like what else could we have done?
Yeah,
like if we say
it
about,
is what it
hey
is,
man, the
man.
Saturn, that's a poopy console. You know what else is poopy? Kids diaper. Like I can't segue these stuff all the time. You know what I mean? Like
We try our best.
Yeah, we try to, but we aren't weatherman, man.
Yeah.
We can't turn everything around. You ever see that when they're like, and the blaze killed 15 in this fire, and then it's like the weather. You know what else is on fire? This weather. we can't get away with that kind of segue. Anyway, guys, I think we've got a lot of good tips for our listeners this time when we're talking about upkeep, cleanliness of games, things like that. We all have a large collection between the three of us, kiosks, and all ranges from pinballs to arcades to box games to consoles out just kind of out in the open.
Yeah.
Disc-based games, cartridge-based games. I don't know where we should start.
I say we just start with the
we start with the carts since they're
carts
the old
and
ones.
discs. Yeah, just start there.
Yeah, so mainly carts. There's a couple different things you can do when you pick it up. Cleaning on the outside, but the pins are the main thing. We haven't
Checking for pins right away. Yep.
Yeah, when you first get them. Well, Shane, why don't you take it over? What do you do when you first see
When I roll up on a cart or something at a swap meet or anywhere, even at a stores, check the pins and make sure they're not all corroded or missing.
Yeah, and what do the pins look like when they're? There's a difference between dirty and
corroded. It'd be a sort of green looking, I'd say.
Yeah, sometimes they're green, or if you can look up, it's nice that on everybody's cell phone now they have a little flashlight.
Yeah.
But if you look at the board that the pins are on, if that board is discolored, like there's orange or green up in the board around where the pins
you might have some problems.
Then you might have some real problems.
Yeah.
Then it's not really worth taking a risk unless you get in this thing for like a quarter or 50 cents or something.
Not necessarily. Not with old NES carts. They're sort of like cockroaches. I mean, they just don't die. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, you just, if it's at a store, I would say, because they're going to back you. I mean, if you're going to pay a decent amount, I mean, you could always take it back, but they should have it cleaned already for you.
And sometimes you can use the damage on a cartridge to your
advantage.
Your advantage. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever taken apart an NES cartridge before, usually the board only occupies about the bottom third of the cartridge.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
So I have some games in my collection that I got really cheap that are expensive games because the top part has a crack in it or is a chunk take. I have a Spirit of the Ninja, for instance, which I'm not even sure what it goes for now, probably $60, $70. I got that game for like $10 because there's a little chip out of the top of the cartridge. Didn't hurt the board. The board's fine.
Yeah. Sure.
But I got that game really cheap just because nobody wanted to buy it.
Because it just looks. It's pretty much just looks at that point.
But you want to look at those things and
even retail, because I don't know about you guys. I've been in retail stores and you can tell if they have a lot of inventory.
Yep.
They don't check them or clean them themselves.
Yep.
And you look at some that are beyond repair. I could tell, and you're like this. You look at the pins, and you're just like, what the heck? And I'll bring it up to this guy and just say, like, this thing's kaput. Go through your deal to do it because someone's going to pick. I almost picked it up to get it. To open these things up, we should say you should get invest in a security bit.
Which you could get.
You
them
can get them on
Amazon.
Amazon. They're like $4.
Yeah, you can get them anywhere. If you just look Nintendo security bit, there's a couple different ones. They
usually
come with
they usually come in the 2-pack like that too.
Yeah, I got mine on from China. It takes a while to come, but you can get one from an American seller for about $5, or you can get one for
$5 to $8. Or 2 from China.
Two from
just
China.
Get it from US. It's quicker.
Yeah, if you need it quick. I've gotten mine. And then the other thing is a tri-wing bit. The tri-wing bit is used for the Game Boys usually.
Okay.
Game Boy Advance, and that's important too because there are so many fakes out there.
Yeah.
You might as well get them all. And then of course, once you open them, and half of them might be actual normal Phillips. Small Phillips head. You can go for a little kit, eyeglass kit, or a small screwdriver kit.
Yeah,
just keep it with your video games. I found it's best to have it in a different area because you're going to end up like not needing it when you need to go, or when you go to a convention or something. It's good to always have one. You can pick them up at a convention.
If you're going to be buying any games that are of any substantial value,
I'd open them up.
You should check the boards in them.
Yeah.
And so basically, when you open a cartridge up, everything should look old because they are old.
Yeah.
But it should also all be intact. All the pins should be straight.
Yeah.
Everything shouldn't be covered in rust or mold or anything, any kind of corrosion or anything like that.
Oh,
there shouldn't be wires jumping around anyway.
There should be
no wires.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any messy looking soldering on the board.
Yeah, that lets you know it's a reproduction more than anything. It doesn't mean it's been an injured cart.
Yep.
If you see soldering or gluing, especially with batteries, if you see it like kind of glued to the board, Nintendo never did that.
Yep.
And
they'll
Genesis
always have a little metal
never
holder
did that.
on them.
Exactly.
On the real ones.
Oh, the other thing I could suggest, maybe some people might not think of, the smell test. Give a cartridge a good smell, because if there's mold in there, it's had some water damage.
Yeah.
I remember I found that GBA game suggested by Riggs, who's going to be at the Missouri Game Con. It's good. The WWF Betrayal for Game Boy Color is actually a side-scrolling beat 'em up. So I was like, oh, great! I found a store with it. It was $4. and I randomly, like, I don't know why I smelled. Maybe I smelled something. And I lifted the cart, and it smelled freaking terrible.
Yeah.
And guess what? That game did not work. I took it apart.
Yep.
It actually didn't look bad. It looked perfectly fine. But since it didn't pass the smell test, that's a new thing I can suggest people do is give that cart a smell, because these people keep them in real damp, mildewy areas. Not everybody's house is the same, and how they keep their things.
And cigarette smoke, ash, and that kind of thing will get up in cartridges.
Yep. How do you guys? I mean, how do you clean your like Nintendo carts?
Yeah, so there are different ways to clean a Nintendo cart or cartridges in general. Probably the safest is isopropyl alcohol, and you want to get as pure alcohol as you can, because some of it's diluted out with water, has other stuff in it.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, take isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip and clean off the pins real well with a Q-tip. Sometimes if
and then dry it off too with the other side. Yep.
Yeah, if there is some corrosion on the pins, you can take a pencil eraser and actually rub a pencil eraser.
I've heard that before. I've never done it. Yep.
But then you have to actually have that bit to open it. You can use
you have to
swab.
take the board out to do that.
Yeah, you can use a swab. And this is a good thing to do. A lot of people don't do this. Every game you get, I went through my whole collection. Then every game I take home, I do it before you put it in your system, because just like anything,
I'm really bad about doing that.
Oh really?
Yes,
you got to do it, because all that stuff is then instantly going right into your system, and it's gonna not. These are a finite number of these things out there.
Yeah,
you're gonna have more.
And if there is a corrosion, you can use those mechanical things like that. You can also use metal cleaner, Brasso.
Yeah, Brasso.
Now, the thing about Brasso to remember is Brasso is harsher on the stuff because it has solvents in it. And Brasso also leaves a residue. So if you ever some people use Brasso on like all their games. And I would say probably not to do that.
Yeah.
But if you do use Brasso, just make sure you get it good and wiped down after the fact and get all that crap off of there.
Yeah.
What happens sometimes, and even I've gone to stores before, and they'll have bought games that were damaged or had a lot of corrosion on them, and they'll clean them up real well with Brasso, but they won't get all the crud off of the pins after the fact.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you're not leaving anything behind. And then the other thing about cartridges that happens all the time, and this drives me crazy, is I go to stores and they'll have NES carts and they'll put their stupid store stickers right on the label of the NES cart, and they do it all the time. They put them right on the box.
Yep.
I've bought games that are shrink wrapped, but the price sticker's on the box inside the shrink wrap.
Inside the shrink wrap,
and you don't really realize it. And you can usually get a sticker off if you really work at it. And use a little X-Acto knife and just kind of tease it off. But one of the ways to get a good way to get stickers off of cartridges or marker marks or those kinds of things is Goo Gone.
Yep. As long as it's not a cardboard one, right?
Yep, correct.
Cardboard. You don't want to put liquid on that at all. That's
they have Goo Gone wipes, which is, and I do use those on cardboard boxes sometimes. Now the thing to remember about Goo Gone though is Goo Gone is a solvent.
Yep.
So if you really rub hard on a label or rub much on a label, it'll take the paint off the label or take the dye out of the label.
Yep.
So I still try really hard not to put any of the Goo Gone on the label itself, but stickers that are on the backside of the cartridge or the sides of it, or people who write their name, property of blah 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 on the back of the cartridge. Goo Gone will take all that stuff off, but it does leave a little residue. So every time I use Goo Gone, I follow it with a little bit of Windex.
Also, another thing is a lot of people back in the day used to write their names on the cartridges, like on Super Nintendo, and Sega and stuff. I actually use a magic eraser pad. I use that, just put a little bit of water on there.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to be really careful with that because it has chemicals on it too. And it'll actually, if you scrub really hard in the same spot, it'll start fading that gray part.
It's actually,
but sometimes it's worth it to do that because it's better than having
but
Sean McDaniel's name on there or something,
Yeah, but sometimes if you do find games that are all marked up, like for instance, I have Evo for the Super Nintendo, which is one of the hardest or rarest games for the Super Nintendo to get, and I got mine really cheap, and it was from somebody or from a store that knew what it was worth, but it had like lipstick on it for some reason. I think it was nail polish.
Somebody really loved
somebody,
it.
Somebody wrote their name on it in nail polish.
Oh,
there was a marker on the side. I mean, the thing just looked like it went through a really bad fashion show.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it had all this stuff all over it. And so that, I can't remember. I think they had it priced at like $200 or $250 back at the time, and I got it for like $70.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this thing's all marked up and everything.
Yeah.
And they're like, the thing's been here forever, and we'll sell it to you for this. And I took it all off with Goo Gone when I got home, and that cartridge looked fine.
Looked fine, yeah.
It looks
and what Shane was saying too that Magic Eraser is really good, but how it gets stuff off and they tell you on the walls, it's actually kind of the same as a sandpaper, and the more you use it, it goes down. So it's actually it's just the most finest grit of sandpaper. So you'll notice the Super Nintendo has a very slight texture to it. It's got a bumpy texture, which also makes it why it's hard to get marker off, because it's you're not really rubbing something flat. And what happens is the Magic Eraser will actually buff that out. So even you can kind of change the texture of it. So you really have to be careful with those. Something else I thought you were going to say when you said Magic is on permanent marker. There's a trick I discovered only a couple years ago, which you use a dry erase marker or a temporary marker on top of a Sharpie, and it takes it off. Just as good or better than anything I've ever used. It's crazy. So again, you use a Sharpie marker, nothing will take it off. Even Gugon will have a hard time. You take a magic marker and basically rub over it back and forth, and then you take a dry paper towel and wipe off, and it takes it off. Sometimes you need to do about 3 or 4 times, depending on how many decades that thing's been on there. And that takes things off pretty well. I will say, out of all the cartridges, unfortunately, Sega Genesis, maybe it's because it's really hard to not touch the label as opposed to Super Nintendo. Sega Genesis games, generally, I think the glue they use on the label, those pop off more. The print they use, and I think Super Nintendo also puts a slight like a clear gloss on the thing, because a lot of Genesis games, they do not hold up well, especially if they're not kept in the box. So those, if you see a really messed up label, you can't really do much about that.
And then after you do get your games, you want to get them home and you want to store them in a normal temperature environment. You know, what's comfortable for you is comfortable for your games. You don't want it to be too hot. You don't want it to be too cold. Be wary of games that have been kept in storage units or attics, for years and years and years, because there's a good chance they won't work.
Unless you're in one of the friends of the show, the only thing I'd say, if you're in kind of this perfect southern states, Arizona, where there's not too much humidity, California, you can store your games in your garage, because I know someone who said, oh yeah, he's giving his games in the garage. My instant thing was like, oh, the temperature changes and fluctuations in the garage. I forget California is a constant like 72 degrees all year. Don't keep them by the heat. That's another thing. This guy had a friend of the show, Dan and Cody, he put a picture on Instagram. All his games were right next to his water heater. Oh boy! So then I instantly said, "Hey, you should put a temperature shielding, which is basically like it's kind of like a styrofoam. What is it? The shiny stuff that they Anyway, it insulates it, so have a barrier in between, so you're not getting fluctuations in temperature.
That you just don't want that heat.
And you want it to be as dry as as you can potentially get it. And
I wouldn't go as crazy as having a humidifier in your game room. I guess if you could, if you wanted to, but I mean, I don't know.
You know that's coming, guys. We're getting older. It's going to be like cigars.
I have a dehumidifier.
It's built in.
But you do want to keep them dry. And I actually went through a big project here just in the last couple of weeks where I put protector boxes around all my NES games.
That's the other thing you do. These clear plastic boxes have been popular now more in the last 5 years, I'd say, because I've been like us, we've been collecting a long time before this kind of retro fad started, and these clear protectors are somewhat new, especially the fad they are, and it's good. It's a good thing.
It just keeps the dust out and that sort of thing. And some things, or sometimes what will happen is you'll buy a game and it'll have if it came from a smoking household, sometimes they can smell pretty bad. If you take your games and you put them in a box with a couple of fabric softener sheets, and just leave them there for a week or two,
that helps too.
They'll smell fantastic. Well, not fantastic, but they'll basically smell normal when you
take them out. Like that
helps
little
bring
bear.
it back. That helps. That helps too.
So fabric softener sheets are your friend if you get smelly cartridges.
Good call. I haven't thought about that one. Good tip. Pro tip there. We haven't had any pro tips.
Pro tip.
There you go.
Fabric softener sheets.
Thank you, Shane. Fabric softener sheets. So cartridges. What else can we say about cartridges? You mentioned the isopropyl alcohol. Another pro tip, would be when you are cleaning your thing, you'd naturally want to tilt your. Most people, I think, clean it. Don't take the whole cart and the board apart, like we said. You just take the Q-tip and wipe it. But something I noticed if you tilt the game up, right, so then anything that you're rubbing on there actually goes down into the board.
Yeah, don't do. Yep, that is very.
Tilt your game straight up so that it's coming down. Yeah. So the pins face down, not pins face up, so no liquid goes in there.
Yep.
Because I actually don't use isopropyl alcohol. Again, take everything with do your own research.
Yeah.
We don't want to be held responsible for you doing anything right or wrong to your games. I think we've been pretty careful in what we're telling you to do. I use Windex on my Nintendo
I've heard that before
I use
too.
Windex a fair amount myself.
Yeah, and that's just to clean the pins. I'm talking. So back YouTube's early days, I wanted to know how to clean, and this guy who seemed legit, he'd been collecting games forever. He says he's used Windex for like 15 years and never had a problem with it. And something Windex does have extra ingredients. I can tell you this, I've used Windex now for probably a decade, never had an issue. And I used isopropyl alcohol rarely, kind of more recently, just because everybody says to use it. Something I've noticed is isopropyl alcohol, since alcohol dries so quickly, that is a pro. It's also a con because literally when I'm wiping it, if I don't dry it within 5 or 10 seconds, it's already dry.
Yeah,
and then what happens is the residue, including the dirt that wasn't dried off, is there. And Windex doesn't dry as quickly. You should not play your game if you're using alcohol for at least 30 minutes. The Windex, I don't play it for about an hour or two.
Yeah.
But that way, it actually gets all the dirt off quicker because I think the isopropyl alcohol will leave the residue.
Yeah.
And I've had much better.
That's always the thing is to pick either one of those two.
And
I'd say cleaning pins.
And as far as the cartridge-based systems, you want to. Don't leave your games in the system between because then the pins bend out. Those pins inside the system or the holders for the pins are spring loaded, so you want them to tension back to where they're supposed to rest between. And for anybody that hasn't done it, if you have a NES that has the blinky light or won't really work correctly, it's almost invariably bad pins inside the system. And it's super easy to fix. It'll cost you about $8. And you can. There's tons of internet videos, so that's something.
Do you even need a security bit? I'm trying to think. The original NES.
No, you need a Phillips screwdriver.
So that's great. So anybody who's got an old NESs are worth picking up, especially.
And you can get them dirt cheap when they don't work. I mean, I bought them before for $5 that don't work. You throw in a new set of pins, and boom, things brand new.
Either that, or you could rebend the pins. You could pull out the pins,
you don't even have to buy new
boil
ones,
the pins, and then bend them back. You just take a little, almost like a paper clip, and you can start bending them each one. It's very tedious, but I mean, I've done it, and it just worked really good. And when you put it in the cart, then it's actually tight and feels good. The problem with buying like a new one is just they're so tight, and they could damage your carts. I haven't had any problems with that before, but if you buy a brand new one, it's really, really tight.
Yeah, there's also a mod you can do with your NES where you can make it.
You don't have to push down.
Yes, the big issue is pushing down.
I actually have one that I have not installed yet.
I need to get one of those. That's
and it's pretty easy. I bought one. I have one. My Nintendo that I mainly use does have that where you just put it right in, you can turn it on, you don't push it down because that is what bends the pins, and we didn't know until it took a few years for that to happen. And then, of course, places like Funko Land took advantage of that. Obviously, we haven't said this yet, but don't blow in your pins. Don't blow into your cartridges because the reason that would work is because these pins would bend, right? So you're losing the connection. All you're doing is creating a moisture barrier that helps create an arc. That is why it works. It's taking the moisture of it's not blowing dust off. You have moisture in your breath that is going onto your pins, and then that moisture is going into your system that maybe will help that connection start. And that's what causes your games to work after blowing in them 100 times. And, of course, that doesn't do anything but kind of damage your system in the long run. So maybe don't blow on them anymore. Cartridge-based stuff.
Then like for Super Nintendo, just if you're going out in the wild, picking one up, check the back for the power cord, where the power cord plugs in.
The system,
where the system, there's like a plastic piece, sort of round piece. If that's missing, it'll still work, but you have to jiggle it just right. I avoid it at all costs if that little plastic piece is missing.
Let's hop around. Let's talk about systems for a second before we get back to CD-based games. Let's go really bizarre. What do you guys have tips on, like TurboGrafx? Anything besides the fact if you see one, just grab it anyway because it's a TurboGrafx. You need to pick that up. PC Engine, whatever. Yeah.
Nothing.
The controllers are supposed to feel really cheap.
Yeah.
So if you pick it up and the controller feels real flimsy.
I've actually had issues with TurboGrafx controllers in the past.
Yeah.
Sometimes the A or B buttons are sticky or not sensitive.
Or smushy.
Yeah, so
N64 controllers, check the joysticks.
Make sure they're not loose.
Not loose, yep.
Yeah.
But it's getting anymore where it's really hard to find them that aren't loose. But they do have reproduction controllers now that aren't so bad.
Reproductions, and also I think you can replace the stick.
You can replace the stick.
Have you guys
ever
ever done
looks
that?
like a little mini surgery.
I haven't, no.
It looks a little bit too tedious for my taste.
Yeah. That Trident controller, man, love it or hate it. That thing was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was unique to for anything, but the stick just touched the middle of it.
Yep.
The reason why do you guys know why a lot of those were worn out? Like not all of them, of course.
Those because people will put their hand on them and do
their Mario Party. Mario Party has killed so many controllers.
Have you played Mario Party with this? I don't want it.
Because for those that don't know, for one of the games you play, and Mario Party was a pretty popular game. One of the games, you've got to spin, basically the joystick, move it in a big circle, counterclockwise or clockwise circle really fast. And people have found the fastest way to do that is not with your thumb. It's taking the palm of your hand and smashing it into that and then going in a circle really hard. And then people even made gloves for it. They'd find if you wear a latex glove, it doesn't slide around as much.
Yep.
That's a great way to, so honestly, if you don't want a broken, or if you see a lot, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Let's say a lot online, you're going to go and you see nothing but 4 Mario Party games, maybe pick up the games and say, I don't want the system, because I bet you'll feel that joystick and it will feel like it's been ridden hard and put away wet.
And also say Atari 50, what is it, 52?
The 5200.
5200, just playing on those not working.
Yeah, almost all their controllers.
I've never had one that worked.
On Atari 5200s.
I mean, there's a way that you could like fix them for like a month, just run an eraser across a circuit board.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get them back together. I mean, it's just a pain in the butt. So if you get a 5200, find a way to get a new one. I don't know when that works.
Early CD-based games, when we're talking, say, the Saturn, Sega CD, PSX. Let's not say the PSX and the Saturn. Those are more common. But like Sega CD, Jaguar CD, early disc-based games. I'm sorry. What's the CD drive? The optical drive. Optical drives on those things usually don't hold up.
Yep.
Because this was kind of newer technology and they were expensive. So of course you're going to cut costs as often as you can. Even the PS2. PS2 would have issues where people who would turn it on its side. Do you remember? That was like the cool console. You could flip on its side.
Flip it on.
Yeah.
And anybody who flipped it on its side, eventually they would fail. And I know how to fix it now. It's actually not a hard fix. But they would fail because the optical drive would grind on a gear, right? Mm-hmm. And what would hold the gear was a plastic piece. Mm-hmm. So what would happen is you put a little extra pressure on that plastic piece. It doesn't have gravity to hold the plastic down. Slowly but surely, the plastic would slightly, 0.5 millimeter, would bend out, and then you would have the grinding noise. So if you ever had a PS2 and it would start making a terrible noise, it's not broken. It's actually a pretty easy fix. And if you also find a broken PS2 out there for $2-3, all you have to do is literally take the top off, find that plastic piece, which is white, easy to spot, and it's right next to the drive. You just push it down and kind of start to bend it the other way. It works perfectly.
Yep.
And that was probably half of the failure issues of the PlayStation 2 was due to this. So also, if you have your PlayStation 2 on its vertical position, move it back to horizontal, even if it's kind of awkward to find a place for
and
it.
here's one of my tips for systems with an optical drive when you're thinking about collecting or going into the future. Oftentimes, the redesigned systems, they're not as fancy. They don't have CD loading trays, for instance.
Yeah.
But the fewer mechanical moving pieces in the console, the better off you are.
Yeah.
So on PlayStation, the PlayStation Slim, the third model of the PlayStation 3, I think it's going to be more reliable than the first two.
You mean the Super Slim?
The Super Slim, I'm sorry. And for PS2, the redesigned Slim PS2, again, has a little tray that flops open and you put the disc right there. There's no loading tray. I think those are a lot more reliable than the standard fat.
Yep, than the fat.
And the Sega CD Model 1 to Model 2 tray to just pressing a button and popping open.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
and it
definitely true.
Ends up
Yeah.
saving costs, but also less moving parts.
Yep.
That is a good.
Yeah, and even the mini Wii, that just has a flip top on it.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
going to be more reliable than the CD loading tray ones.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you're thinking about having something and it working 20 years from now and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, wait till the last version of it. I never
Yeah,
thought about that.
either
Yeah.
last version or the one that just doesn't have a moving CD tray, because
Yep.
oftentimes that's what goes out on the systems.
So upkeep too with these things, since we're talking about that, these systems, now that we're going into discs, a lot of them have a fan.
Yep.
Some fans are louder than others. Hello, Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Your Dreamcast, also, if you find a Dreamcast in the wild, you're not used to playing it or you haven't turned it on for a while and it sounds really loud, that is perfectly normal. You kind of
Yeah.
forget when you haven't played one for a while. The Dreamcast is a loud machine.
Yep.
But that's actually for the best because it also kicks out a good amount of air. One of the best things you can do is get a vacuum hose. This is upkeep for keeping dust out. So dust is a big killer of all electronics. Your laptop runs hot or things like that when you don't clean it out. Stick a vacuum hose on the exit vents
Yep.
and suck it on out. What's good to do is actually take an air blower on the intake port. You can find this online. It varies per each console. Find where the air comes out and where the air goes in, and basically use one of the compressed airs where the air goes
Yeah.
in while you're using the vacuum.
Blow it out.
Boy, you can bring out so much stuff. Of course, you can open it up and clean out that way. But really, if you do that, especially if you use the console pretty often, once a year, spring cleaning time, you
You just hook up the air hose and poof,
yep,
there's my sock.
yep. you can pull.
There's where that sock went.
Yeah, you can pull a lot of stuff out, and some are better than others. I will say, if you find a Dreamcast, they are notoriously pretty good at actually holding up well the optical drive, because the optical drive is
Unless you're playing burnt games.
Burn games.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
good.
burnt games will chew that drive up.
Yeah, good point. So the drive is overworked. Dreamcast, big reason why it failed was everybody made the burned games that could play on a normal CD, and you can bypass their GD-ROM, which was their proprietary type of CD. The problem is it would overwork the lens. So yeah, you could have one that's overworked, but that thing is also meaty. If you look at an optical drive, we're getting super nerdy this episode. I'm sorry, but maybe you appreciate this. If you look at the optical drive of a Sega Dreamcast, it's about double the size of any other optical drive. So they generally run really well, and I think that's going to be in the long run one of the better CD-based games to have. All right, we've ran through a lot of good stuff here. Any other random system issues? Handhelds?
So I don't. Sega CD is one. If it's not working, lid switch. Pull it apart and you could tape the lid switch, sometimes that, or a fuse. That one's a little bit more technical, like having to put in a fuse, but
Sure.
it might not be dead like you think it is. So
Maybe we should talk about, let's say, some real killers like
Disc rot.
yeah, like something like we're talking about repairable things. Why don't we talk about things that if we see this, turn around and run away? Disc rot is a good thing to say. So disc rot, it is what it says. It's basically the rotting.
how do you recognize disc rot? I'd say pretty much.
Yeah, hold it up to the light.
Yes.
Yeah, hold up the light and see if
away from the light,
pinholes.
Caroline. Stay away from the light.
Yeah, basically, and some Dreamcast games are like this. This is also, it's kind of like mold. I don't know, not exactly sure what causes disc rot.
Well, I mean, I've read that it's the die materials breaking down that they made the disc out of, essentially. But I mean, I guess maybe mold's part of that. But
And it happens with printing, so whatever the humidity levels or things are when it was manufactured have a lot to do with it. That's why certain games have trouble. I know the Dreamcast library really well, so that's why I keep referring to it. But the Dreamcast had a few games that are notoriously becoming like vanishing products. Two of them, one game is aptly named Vanishing Point, a driving game for the Dreamcast. I have 3 copies of that. I don't think any of mine really load up.
Really?
And see if you have it. If you have Vanishing Point, really inexpensive driving game. That is one where I think during the manufacturing, something with the glue or something, it's going away. Another game by Rockstar, help me out.
I want to say it's Wild Arms, but that's
No,
not right.
Wild
because
Metal.
that's
Think
Wild Metal, there you go.
You helped me
Yeah,
though.
Wild Arms is PlayStation.
So Wild Metal, which is actually a Rockstar game, which is really interesting because they went on to do
Grand Theft
Grand Theft Auto.
Theft Auto.
Wild Metal is a game that is slowly, the disc rot happens in a really weird way where the game is starting to like glitch on itself. So you'll be driving on, polygonal graphics. Wild Metal is you're on Mars, you're driving this car around and shooting
It's like
stuff.
an open world shooting game.
Yeah, open
driving
world,
game,
but it's on a big terrain, right?
Yeah,
Kind of like, it looks like a Star Wars world. Well, the floor is, of course, made on polygons and stuff. You will start driving and the floor will just disappear. And it's literally the disk rot eating some of that data away. So it's not enough data to actually make the game fail, but the levels are literally kind of like disappearing.
Really?
It's really
That's
interesting.
weird.
So check that if you have the game Wild Metal, because that is one that's notoriously
I've
having
heard
issues.
Saturn games have a lot of issue with that too.
So basically what you're looking for when you hold it up to the light is light shining through the reflective layer of the disc. That's what disc rot usually looks like. The systems that are affected most are the older CD-based systems that have silver discs. So Sega CD, Saturn are probably the top two, but Jaguar CD, TurboGrafx CD, all those have it too. And I have some Saturn games that have disc rot on them that's actually kind of a brownish or a blackish color.
Yeah.
I've heard of that before. Doing that.
So sometimes it'll look like little pinholes, but sometimes it'll look like a stain or like a little glitched out like dark area on the disc, and you can't rub it off. It's underneath the it's underneath the plastic in there.
And the data is on the disc, so on the label. If you see any marks,
If you see any front label damage on a disc, just
don't
run
buy
away.
it.
Run away.
And that's easy to happen because people will actually take their marker and mark on that side. And unless that marker comes off easy and it's a dry erase that stayed, that's just going to eat into it. So, if you see marks on a disc and it's not on that middle part that they used to put for a rental, I would, definitely stay away from it.
Yeah, and then there's other little tricks. You can clean them with toothpaste. There's toothpaste. There's all kinds
Peanut
of different
butter.
solvents. Yeah, peanut butter. I actually, whenever I clean disc myself, I wear glasses, so I use my glasses cleaner. With the microfiber and all that sort of thing.
That's for scratches too.
But for scratches, and I try to shine them up. If I can't shine them up like that, then it's time for them to be resurfaced.
Yeah.
And you don't want to buy the cheap resurfacing stuff off of Amazon or whatever.
Dr. X.
We're
or whatever
talking
it
the
is.
handheld ones. So you could, and those were really popular right when, around.
right when
they would
CD,
sell them at even GameStop would have them.
They had them
and
at Best Buy.
stuff. Yeah, and they're the ones that you do by hand. But
hand crank.
do not do those because you'll end up. What
Just
happened?
take them to your local game store and get them resurfaced.
Or were you gonna say the library?
Yeah, you can do either place, and sometimes even
Library's cheap. That's something people.
And sometimes music stores. If you have a local vinyl shop or a place that sells CDs and music and that kind of thing, oftentimes they'll have a resurfacing machine, and it'll cost $1 to $3 per disc. But those machines are a lot better and won't damage the disc nearly as much as potentially you could resurface a disc several times on the nicer machines.
Something else to be said: if this is a kind of Joe Blow minimum wage guy doing these resurfacing, some places the machine can be great. The operator, basically it's all time based, right? You need to do like 30 seconds to a minute. If they don't know how long to do it, they can end up ruining your disc.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you're going in it with, you can buy resurfacers too. They've got a cheap one that's like less than $200 that it has pretty good reviews and use the paste. And I forget what it's called. It's like the Disc Pro, something. Pro.
Disc Pro.
If you look up,
like
you'll see it. It's in a white box, but it's not as good as the real professional ones. The other issue is the clear part of the Dreamcast game. Dreamcast games are tough because I love this system, but if you see a pretty badly scratched game, you probably should stay away from it.
Yeah.
It's not even worth trying to resurface because you can't. It's not as thick. If you get it resurfaced, the person has to know to do it about half as amount of time.
Yeah,
because I know people who have ruined their entire collections because they've tried to resurface it and they end up breaking the game because if you go a little too much.
And there's different schools of thought in this. I don't resurface anything
unless I have to.
Unless I have to.
Unless it doesn't work.
That's the last resort. Is taking it and putting it into a machine.
Yep.
So I only do that when they don't work.
Yeah.
And at that point, you don't have anything to lose.
Yeah. Some of the better ones. So Blu-ray discs are really hard to scratch. Again, you can scratch the top and you ruin it. So still check to make sure the top isn't scratched. But a Blu-ray disc is difficult to scratch. And then also, if it's really scratched up, you clean that sucker up.
Yep.
It generally plays pretty well. So that would be like, well, your Blu-ray movies, but PS3, PS4. That is one where you can guarantee those discs hold up pretty well. And then cases and things, you could buy replacement cases. DVD cases work for the PS2. Yeah. If you have if you want to make your collection really look good, you can buy in bulk a lot of cases, DS cases. We haven't even talked about handhelds, but Game Boys games, generally those cartridges go around naked all the time. So you really always want to clean those as well. Yeah. And you can put them in little plastic cases that they used to come with. Those are always a good investment. Or you can put them inside a DS case. But PS2 cases, you could use DVD cases and make a kind of dirty game that's all like jumbled up, look brand
pretty
new.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, jewel cases too.
Jewel cases.
Yeah. That's a lot of upkeep stuff. What else can we offer our viewers? Starting out with a collection, like I'm just trying to think. If you're starting out a collection, all these tips I think are really good. If you've been collecting a while, probably 90% of what we said isn't new, but hopefully you've gotten at least a couple tips. If you're a cardboard collector, what Adam suggested earlier is a good idea to put them in those plastic cases, because the other thing it protects it from is your own self and the oils in your skin and stuff like that to keep this cardboard going. I'm luckily not a cardboard collector like you crazy guys. I could care less about the boxes.
I don't know that I like the cardboard. And I'll spend a little bit more for the cardboard, but I don't have to
you guys always.
I like my systems in cardboard. I'll give you that. Yeah. I do like my systems.
You guys love. You're always like, oh, the box, and I'm like, oh man. It's funny though. Hey, if you have a rare game and you don't care about the box, you can sell that box and make a good amount of money. You might not know that. So if you still have there's some people who write into the show that say like, oh, I'm going to find my old games. If you find that you don't care and you've got a lot of cardboard boxes, you can sell that. Some cardboard boxes are crazy that they're hundreds of dollars, but even common games, I think you could sell $20-$30 depending on if it's Nintendo 64 and in great shape. Things like, because people didn't keep them. They weren't meant to be kept either. They're kind of
it's cardboard. It's meant to be thrown away.
All got thrown away.
But dust, humidity, that's kind of the best thing to help prolong your system. Rattles too. Always pick up your system at a swap meet. Listen for any
Super
rattles.
Nintendo carts that rattle them around. Make sure if it's rattling around in there, that battery's not on the board anymore. So
that's a good tip. Yeah. Same with like Genesis. Because people like crumbs and stuff inside there. Spill a soda.
I didn't mention this earlier, but if a cartridge has sun fading, if the label is faded because it's been in the sun, I will not buy it. And you'll find that a lot at garage sales or flea markets
especially because those cartridges.
I still buy them.
They do work pretty well.
I won't buy. Well, the problem is if they're sun faded,
they get cooked.
Did they get cooked and did they get taken out of the rain? Because sometimes those dudes have been exposed to some moisture.
I know.
And there's one game store that was near here that's gone out of business, and it used to pain me. I only went there once actually, but I walked in and they always would take like a shelf and put it outside. To show people from the road. And you go into the store and like 80% of the stuff in the store was all sun faded and wind and rain damaged and everything else. It's like you destroyed your entire inventory just to show people on the road that you had games in here, which the sign on the front of the source says.
But it's funny. It's a lot of people don't value that stuff. I will say it's kind of
most people that want to buy old games value that.
Now,
I think.
Now they do. But back in the rental, like Blockbuster and stuff, those are notorious. Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, all their inventory now. There's not many left. I think I talked about in a last episode. I went to a video game store. It was called Family Video, and half of their inventory, most of it was sun faded. Just because they have to have, you look through the windows, they have huge windows, and that's just kind of part of it. But the old Blockbuster games, Blockbuster exclusives, things like that are usually sun faded as well. Don't put your stuff in direct sunlight. If you do, a lot of the old plastics, Super Nintendos, if you notice,
if you search see a yellow one,
search on eBay for a Super Nintendo or go pull yours out of the closet. You'll find that they're yellowed, and generally it is because of direct sunlight at some point or indirect, like bright lights will cause it to, but it doesn't hurt hurt it at all.
No.
It just makes, and it's funny. It's only the
starts to get
top.
more brittle.
You can tell it's a different material in there. There is a way to fix that.
Yeah, you actually have to remove the outer layer of plastic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to use an abrasive.
You have to use an abrasive, and there's a couple different, like using ultraviolet light. It's an interesting fix. I have not done this myself.
I haven't either.
There are some people who...
Mine doesn't have it.
Yeah, there are some people who can do it. You can do it yourself, but it's a process that sometimes takes a couple days. I know Adam Karolik has done that for all his systems, how to clean them like inside and out, make them look like new. That would be someone to search.
Something for Virtual Boy. You said you should play it if you have a Virtual Boy, Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
Play it once a year.
Should
Is that what
play
you're
it.
saying? Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for remembering that. So I'm a Virtual Boy collector. I've had my Virtual Boy forever. I bought all the games and nobody loved it. I've had mine, my X rental forever. The Virtual Boy, unfortunately, runs into the same issue because it's a Nintendo product that the original Game Boy did. A lot of old Game Boys do not work because they used a glue for the ribbon cable. And that ribbon cable, if you notice on a Game Boy, you'll see some lines go out. Yep. And that's literally that part of the ribbon cable. The glue they use gets really brittle. And in temperature fluctuations usually, or what have you, that will cause it to age a little faster than normal. So a lot of old Game Boys will need, and the fix for it isn't too bad. You basically have to kind of re-glue it, resolder it. You can look online. It's not the easiest to fix, but the Virtual Boy had this same problem where the lenses go out. A lot of Virtual Boys, you look on eBay, they'll say broken. Now, this is a good tip for you to pick one up, inexpensive, to try to fix. If you can find one...
Yeah, if you're somewhat handy.
Yeah, if you're somewhat handy. I fixed Shane's.
Yep.
This was a method a lot of Virtual Boy collectors came out with that I would say this happens to...
And
what?
I'm just chuckling on the oxymoron. A lot of Virtual Boy collectors.
Oh, true. Yeah, so there's not many... Yeah, you're right. There's not many of them. But
I'm one of them. I guess there's two out of
Planet Virtual Boy.
Shane's got one.
I like Virtual Boy.
Complete set, man. I did get rid of my Jack Brothers. I need to look for that again. We'll see.
Ooh,
but
ouchie.
I know. I sold it back in college, but back then games weren't worth $75, so I got $75. Now it's worth like $400. What do you know? But anyway, so all Virtual Boys eventually start to break. You can do whatever you want. It can be in perfect shape, like Shane's worked perfectly, and then all of a sudden the eye will go out or a lens will break or something like that. You can also get a donor cart. So if you own a Virtual Boy, it's pretty good to actually get a backup Virtual Boy to pull parts from. So the eyes go out and there'll be like static lines. So the fix is actually, there's two fixes. There's one where you can actually ship it to a guy. It's easy to find. He's in Europe. It's about $60. And you actually take the lenses out. He tells you how to ship them. You put them in between two cardboard slips, take it to him, and he will resolder them perfect so they'll work forever and bring it back. You won't have any other trouble with your Virtual Boy. Generally, that's the issue, is the glue on the ribbon cable. But in order to take it off, you have to desolder it and resolder each one very delicately and carefully. Now, there's one other trick, which is called the Virtual Boy oven trick. And this... I have to tell you, the specifics I forget, but it does work. You basically take the lenses out and you heat them up so the glue actually melts slightly and then re-adheres itself. And you do this by a specific temperature. You literally put them inside aluminum foil, put them in your actual oven. This is like the lenses and the ribbon cable. You lay them flat and you set the oven for, I think it's something not crazy. Again, don't do this unless you look it up. But something like under 200 degrees. It's like 175 degrees for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something. Wait till it reheats, put it in there, take it out of the oven, put them back in, and it actually fixes it. It fixes it. That's why it works. So if you look up Virtual Boy oven trick, it's quite interesting. It's something you can do. But another thing you can do is just buy a replacement, like broken for another reason, or they can't test it. A lot of people cannot test the Virtual Boy, so you can get it just like, oh, we don't know if this works or not. But anyway, that's kind of
the only other. We probably talked too long about the Virtual Boy already.
I know, we probably
keep going. My Virtual Boy, the thing that, if it's not the lenses that breaks or the ribbon, it's the little clip that holds it on the stand.
Oh, yeah.
And so mine broke. since 3D printing is a thing now, you can buy those 3D printed.
Oh yeah,
for
that's
like
cool.
$5.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I have a 3D printed clip, and that one, mine's really cool because you can actually put it on like a camera tripod, like a full size camera tripod.
Oh nice.
Oh,
Rather
nice.
than
So
the little tiny,
yep.
And the
thing
foam
that
around
hangs
there always is like super gross because people's face was in there, right?
Yeah.
So the Virtual
We
Boy
never
wasn't.
washed,
Yeah,
yeah.
So, but what's neat is those you can get secondhand made in China for like $4, $5.
Yeah.
So definitely do that if you're Virtual Boy because they kind of pull apart and break. You can
Yeah.
rebuy those little pads for next to nothing on eBay. You'd be surprised. I got one for a couple bucks. Not bad. Oh man. What else? What else, guys? I think we've gone through a lot.
I think that's
quite a
pretty
bit.
much-
I'm sure
yeah.
we skipped some things, but
Yeah.
Here
that's,
and
that's
there.
kind of some big points.
Yeah, that's some big
let
points.
us know. Just keep your stuff clean. It's always good to just wipe everything down, on the outside. Also, because germs. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed if you go to like video game stores, just like anything retail, you're going to a place that you are touching so many things that just got touched. I really think like video game stores are like a breeding ground for infection. Like I noticed, I got like food poisoning. Like what did I do? Oh yeah, I went to a game store recently, and when it was going around the city, a lot of times you'll hear stuff like, "Oh, the stomach flu is going around," or people are getting a lot of issues or stomach bugs. Totally, just like make sure to have stuff in your car to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Doing the swap meet stuff,
Yeah.
and then bring it home to your
You
family
never know where
and
they've
stuff.
been.
Yeah, like, clean your games off because they're kind of grunky. All right, so I think that's it for our upkeep talk. What do you guys think?
I think that's good.
All right,
Yeah.
that was our topic this week for our upkeep. So I think the next thing we could talk about is next time we're going to be in we're going to skip next week. So every 2 weeks we do an episode. We might be able to have a mini episode, but 2 weeks from now we will be in Super BitCon.
Yes.
Our first convention. So that'll be in Oklahoma City.
Yep.
So make sure to come to that. What are the dates on that, Adam?
29th and 30th of April.
Yeah, 29th and 30th of April. It's in the Midwest. First video game convention that we're going to be at. We're also going to be in the Missouri Game Con in August.
Yep.
And then, next year we'll see where else we go. But yeah, go to a video game convention. A tip for that, if you've never been, is to...
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip. Bring a list of some things you're looking for because you will be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, just, man, I had way too much stuff I was looking at. I had no clue, and I should have had my list with me. And
Yeah, there's so
man.
much stuff to look through, and a lot of people generally you just kind of stick with a system or two you're collecting,
yeah,
and generally you'll find it, it's also another place where you're going to want to make sure you take a shower before you go. After you go, you use a lot of the hand sanitizer. A lot of people get sick after coming back from a convention, and I just say because you're sharing the air with so many dang
have
people.
your phone completely charged. So then if
Yeah.
you have a game that you're sort of think looks cool, I mean, then you can look it up real quick on your phone too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got our T-shirts. Shane is wearing
Yes.
our Video Game Dads
Woohoo.
T-shirt. We're gonna have those for sale.
Yeah,
and then
I'll have details on that probably next podcast that we do. So
next
So,
podcast, and we'll check
yep.
inventory. We're gonna bring a whole bunch down there.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll just meet some fun people. I'm excited. The guest list will be interesting.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Double Dare
Mark
host?
Summers.
Mark
Summers.
Summers.
Mark Summers from Double Dare is going to be there.
Mark Summers from Double Dare and also Unwrapped. And what else did he do?
I don't know. He did like some cooking shows and stuff on
Yeah.
Food Network. I
Yeah,
think.
he's done some stuff.
But yeah, when I was putting all my NES collection in the boxes and stuff, I ran across and I was like, oh, Double Dare for the NES. Wait a second. Mark Summers is going to be there. I'm getting this little bastard autographed.
And that was a great idea because I instantly was like, oh crap, I'm going to look. So I got Double Dare myself just for that too. So he's probably going to be signing those things all the time anyway, but I think it would be hilarious
But no,
to
that's
have
cool.
To have a Mark
Yeah.
Summers autographed Double Dare for the NES.
Yeah, and if you don't know the NES cart, it actually has a picture of him on there. Like
Yeah.
the Double Dare show, it has like a still frame of him like right in the middle. And
Well, I'll tell you what else is fun if you just are bored one night. My wife and I brought that cartridge upstairs or whatever, and I was like, "Do you remember this show?" And so we started talking about it. So I YouTubed it, and it's just like I remember it, just as bad, And it's
but not because of Mark Summers.
not because of Mark Summers. No, it's one of those things
Mark
where
Summers
like,
ain't gonna sign your stuff.
yeah,
now.
no. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, it's as 80s kids stuff as you could possibly
be,
get.
yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how much of that show I actually remembered or was coming back to me. I guess we were watching these videos of kids running through the the gauntlet, so to speak, on Nickelodeon.
Oh, that was so good, man.
Yeah.
And I never got to, so I didn't have cable growing up, single family. We were poor people. So like I only got to see Double Dare when we went to a friend's house. And most of the time when you're at a
my
friend's
grandparents had cable, and that's where I used to watch it.
Oh man, and it was even that much better because you just hear about this. Like I would hear about Nickelodeon all the time. I'm like, you mean there's a channel that's just meant for kids, like all the
just
time?
kid stuff. Yeah, at our house we had 2, 6, and 8.
Yeah.
Oh man, but we still had it good. I do think our Saturday mornings back in the day, like
Oh, great.
Our
Saturday mornings
are
great,
way
though.
better than their
Even,
Saturday mornings.
Yeah, even without cable,
the
great.
real Ghostbusters. So that's on Netflix now, by the way. Sorry, Laura and I watched an episode last night. God, that show is good.
It's still good.
It's
yeah.
still
A lot of those old cartoons are good. Yeah, I watch the stuff
It's freaky
my
too.
kid watches right now, and it's so bad. All of it.
It's so
you
bad.
talked about that. Like it's just weird, random.
It's just like there's no. It's just there's just people walking around being nice to each other. Yeah, like I don't get it. Like there's no point. They're just like
There's no Sergeant Slaughter coming out of nowhere
yeah,
driving home the
exactly.
point.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no conflict.
Joe.
Well, I mean, back when we were, kids, and here's where I go old
old
man
school.
on the podcast. But I mean, there was like a good guy and a bad guy. There was some conflict between good and evil, and some resolution at the end. Maybe some strife in the middle. Like that doesn't exist.
Or to be continued. Do you remember sometimes they'd be like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
man.
I Transformers was that for me when I was a kid.
Yep.
Dude, if you better not get between me and the TV Saturday morning. If I don't find out what happens to Optimus Prime, somebody's going to pay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, they had some more violent stuff. So the episode I ended up watching on Real Ghostbusters was one. Do you guys remember this? Because just about everybody does. It was The Boogeyman Cometh. So, like, it was early season 1. This episode was scary as heck. It gave me nightmares. It gave everybody nightmares. I looked on, I Googled it, and everybody kind of remembers. So hopefully at least one person listening to this podcast makes this worth me talking about. But the boogeyman was like this big-faced thing. Like these kids come up and want to hire the Ghostbusters. And they're like, it's cute, and it's the boogeyman. And then Egon's like, no, this guy's real. So they go and go to these kids' room, and the boogeyman comes out, but he's not a ghost. He's like a spirit. Their proton packs don't work on him, and he comes out. He's doing the whole half man top part, and the bottom part's like a horse. So he's got hooves. That's freaky, and he's got these gross teeth. And he comes out and it's like, I get like it was real scary stuff. And he was like really like threatening everybody and stuff like that. Like, dude, that
wouldn't fly today, man.
No, man, it wouldn't. I think. Yeah, we were kind of spoiled by our old cartoons, but the good news is, like, a lot of that stuff, Batman animated series.
It's all on Netflix, man. Netflix kills regular TV on
YouTube,
on cartoons right
or
now.
YouTube and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the new Voltron. That's what me and my kid are all about.
Or Mask. Do you guys ever see Mask? M-A-S-K.
You like the Jim Carrey?
No, you guys didn't watch Mask. Is like 80s. It was kind of like it's not like Transformers, but it's like. Oh gosh, what did it stand for? It stood for somebody's yelling into their car speakers right now. It's like mass. It was M.A.S.K.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, it was also kind of like these guys like get into their like vehicles and they're like getting the bad guys, but like I kind of shoot. I don't even know. It probably doesn't hold up that well. I haven't seen an episode in like 20, 30 years at this point. Yeah, probably like 30 years. So some of them don't hold up, but a lot of them do. A lot of good old cartoons for sure.
All right, so moving along, it's time to talk about what we've been playing and what we've been buying.
Yeah, what we've been playing, what we've been buying. This part of the show, we kind of talk about, like I said, we're crazy collectors. What have we been picking up? What about you, Shane? You gotten anything?
I haven't been doing too much collecting. Been playing a little bit. My daughter has been loving like 1-2 Switch, playing like we play like the sword game on 1-2
your kid
Switch.
And my kid played that together the other day.
Yeah, she like loves it. So anytime
good.
she sees the Switch behind the TV, because I have it placed behind the TV, she always wants to play it. So we're always playing it. She just goes gorilla on it. Just
Jeez, good man.
Yeah, it's going crazy. Played a little bit of Super Bomberman. I've been trying to get some points to get new.
That's right. You're a Bomberman junkie, man.
Yeah, but I'm horrible at it.
I suck at Bomberman.
I am so horrible.
Yeah.
I'm garbage.
We played it in
Garbage.
the Portland Retro Gaming Expo
Yeah,
in
it's
the
one of those
hotel.
games I've just never
Yeah.
Remember we
played.
were drinking and stuff, and I
Yeah.
never played it growing up.
Yeah. I played a lot of it, and I still not even good.
Yeah, it's a little weird strategy to it, but it's kind of fun multiplayer game.
Oh, something I picked up. I picked up a Nintendo 64 in box. It's just a regular gray, but the box is really cool. It's a Star Wars pod racer one, so it's got a really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I've never even seen that box before. You showed it to me the other day, and I have no recollection of ever.
I don't
seen
either.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't know they made a bundle with the Star Wars.
Yeah,
Pod
so I
Racer.
ended up getting it. I didn't even
Yeah.
show it to you
George
guys.
Lucas destroyed all of them right after the fact. Yeah, he added some effects and then destroyed the old ones.
Yeah, that's about right. And they don't.
I picked up a Nintendo Game Boy Advance, so it looks like an old Nintendo.
The NES version.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
NES
NES version. Yep, I picked
We're not
up
going
one
to
of
say
those.
NES Classic.
Yeah,
Oh
don't
my
say
gosh.
that. Don't-
We just mentioned. Yeah, we just found out a day or two ago. Like Nintendo announced it's discontinued.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't put my middle finger up in the air any faster because I
Yeah.
I think we talked about this before. We all kind of said like, oh, it's coming out. It's kind of crazy. We kind of missed out. You had to be online or have friends who had it to then give to you. And,
Yeah.
And it's a good piece for maybe not maybe a collector because we have a lot of these old games. It would have been nice to have. It's a cool little box, but it is now selling for like $400. And
yeah.
I'm like, gosh, you can buy a really great collection of real video games for that amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool product, but the fact that scalpers took advantage of it's another like thing that Nintendo, I'm
Yeah.
like saying like you didn't think it would take off. It's a temporary thing. It's like saying like, oh, that money that you're handing me without me having to do very much, I don't want that. I don't get that at all.
They
don't
put
get
way
that.
too much emphasis like on their old like IP, their stuff.
I don't know. They're still around, and everybody else from the same time is dead. They've done something right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a lot having to do with their NES, their
It has to do
treasure
with-
chest from
It has
the
to do
NES
with
days.
the virtual console.
Yeah, the virtual
when it comes
console, that's
down
what it
to
is.
They're just trying to make.
They just use that thing as marketing tool for
Yeah.
everything else.
It's
so.
just unfortunately not a great thing for the people that really wanted that thing.
Yeah. See, I wanted one for my kids
Yeah, I
so she
wanted
could
one.
open up and just have that experience because I know she would be happy and been like, "Oh, thank you, Daddy."
When I
Boom.
first found out about it last year, I'm like, man, I'm going to buy 10 of these things and give everybody one for Christmas.
Yeah, I was
You know,
thinking about
but-
giving them away as
but
gifts
yeah,
too.
it just wasn't available. So, and
Yeah.
I'll get one eventually, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I'm not too worried.
I'm not going to spend over $59.99.
No, I'm not. And
I won't either.
It's crazy because I was on a collector's group page, and this one collector just recently said, "Oh, I just got mine for like 150," and people are like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And I'm like, "What is going on with you?" Like, yeah, 150 is half as much as it's going for. I guess if you're gonna just turn around and resell it, but I'm like, how are you excited to pay like triple scalper fee on something that also just isn't? It'd be different if this was like. I don't know. What can you relate this to if something like worth something that is really like maybe if they were unreleased games that you never heard of
Yeah,
or something. Then I could
something
see
special, but-
justifying something you can't do. But these are just, ROMs of it emulated through
You
through
can find
that by
other ways to
Nintendo.
play them. I mean,
Yeah, it's a cute little product, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, what's become of it, that's why we never talked about this yet, but sorry, not to get too off course, the Retro Engine Sigma
Retro Engine Sigma.
by
Sigma.
by Indiegogo. When after the NES Classic came out, these guys Indiegogo is basically like a Kickstarter, and they created crowdfunding, and they created basically what a NES Classic is in the shape of a Sega Genesis. That's kind of open source, and it'll play all the TurboGrafx games, NES. These guys kind of put this thing together, and it's HDMI out. And it kind of does what the NES Classic was able to be quasi-hacked, where you can fill it full of a bunch of Nintendo games. And I think you can now, it was hacked even more, so you can put like even old like GBA games and other systems, but it still has a finite amount of room that you can actually fill these games with. But the Retro Engine Sigma is a cheaper version of this. You can find this still on Indiegogo, and they're going to have a retail version out that kind of looks like a cool like old Atari. Mm-hmm. But if you got in on it early, mine's actually going to ship next month.
Oh,
so,
really?
So that'll be
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
And I think since I'm still in new baby mode, I kind of told Adam, because he's got one coming in a couple months, you can play with mine until yours comes, because I probably won't have time to play with it that much because I haven't had much game playing time. But that is a good alternate source. So if you're bummed about not getting the NES Classic, look up the Retro Engine Sigma. Us video game dads are going to do a review on it. But it's a cool story, and it's a good product that's actually about the same amount of money, $60-$70, and you can put anything on it you want, and it's basically kind of the same thing, and it comes with controllers and memory cards, things like that. A lot of more functionality. You don't have to deal with the short cords or something like that. But we're not bitter about not getting it.
Adam, what have you been collecting and playing?
Oh, I've picked up a few things. I this morning I drove around and went to the swap meet. I poured out a 40 for the Ghost of Shane. But I picked up a handful of boxed Game Boy Advance games.
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
They're in pretty good shape. No big heavy hitters or anything, but I got them all for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I got a Rogue Squadron 3 for the GameCube.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah, and those Rogue Squadron games are awesome.
Yeah.
They're really good games, and so and I never have played 3, so I got that, and thrilled to have it. I got Dragon Ball Sagas for the Cube.
Oh yeah,
and some people I think either love or hate those Dragon Ball Z fighting games.
Yeah.
I kind of like them.
Yeah, they're sort of cool.
But anywho, I got that. I got a couple of PS3 games as well. Among those, Dishonored, which I still didn't have, which everybody else has. But so I got those today. I ordered, or I said earlier I wasn't collecting Super Nintendo, and I don't really think I am. But I finally got my hands on an Earthbound.
Ooh.
Well, I haven't got my hands on it yet. I made a deal with the guy who's sending
with
it
the
to
guy
me.
that knows the guy.
Yeah, with the guy that knows the guy. So, at any rate, I got a good price on it, and I haven't bought it previously because it's always outrageous whenever I do see it.
Yeah.
So I've got a copy of Earthbound coming, so that'll be a nice addition. And I bought a few NES games the other day as well. No huge heavy hitters, but some uncommon games.
Yeah.
And so I'm up to 602.
Oh boy,
NES games now.
Boy,
or
man.
unique games.
get in there.
That's crazy. How many people have a complete set? I know you probably don't know,
I don't
but like,
know. I have no idea.
A few do. I know there's like even documentaries about people who are like collecting all that kind of stuff. I know a few people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never have a complete set, I don't think, because the last 100 or so are all just,
Crazy.
really expensive.
Yeah.
But the ones I don't have, if I find them and they're reasonable, I get them. It's the one system I'll pay near retail, on games for the most part. But that's basically it. I bought some new shelving, and I moved all my PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff over to new shelves.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So I'm.
Oh yeah, those are my shelves,
Yeah.
or should I say, I have those exact shelves. Not like you stole my shelves; those are my shelves. Yeah,
my
shelves. We didn't talk about that with the upkeep thing, but not to cut you off. If you get shelving, I know a lot of people reuse bookcases and things like that, which is fine. But I know a lot of people hate stacking games in front of games. If you search like media shelving, that'll do you a better service than regular kind of furniture or something like that. You could still, I'm sure, get repurpose your own furniture, but if you're able to, getting media shelving, stuff made for Blu-rays and stuff is the perfect size for all your CD-based games, cartridges, anything fits in there perfectly. And the ones that Adam got are, how much was that one?
It was $100. It's like 6 feet tall, about 3.5 feet wide.
It's maybe even taller than 6 feet. It's
Yeah.
almost 7 feet tall.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to beat for the buck.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them in there, and you can. Who makes that one?
Atlantic.
Yeah,
I think is the name of the company. They're on Amazon.
I just got some too because I filled all 3 of those things. I never thought I would, and I showed you guys pictures. I was kind of proud of myself. I Frankensteined a couple together, a couple shelves together, because I saw someone on Amazon do the same thing. Because there was I had this narrow space, 13 inches and up to the ceiling. That's all I have for the room that I have all my games in right now in my office. And I was like, can I find something that fits? And I found something. And then this guy said, hey, if you stack 2 of them together, you can get them really tall and buy 2. And they're $30 a piece.
Yeah.
So you can have something that goes 89. Well, okay, so my floor to the ceiling is 89 inches.
Yeah.
And I measured out how I can put these two together and kind of Frankenstein that. I'm no engineer, and someone who actually makes furniture probably thinks this isn't too clever, but I thought it was super clever that I was able to say, oh, take the middle parts of this and just build it up. And then I was going to secure it to the wall because I know Atlantic or Summit. It was called the Summit by Atlantic if you want to find this and put, but anyway, it doesn't take up much space. So I measured out and I was like, oh, okay, my ceiling is 89.5 inches. So not quite standard, a little less.
Yeah.
You put these two things together, and I measured out that it is exactly 89 inches. So I had a half an inch to spare. I'm like, boom, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, here's why you should measure twice, cut once, or wait, yeah, measure twice before you cut. I forgot that when you're measuring, I was measuring the 2 extra sides for the 2 extra layers, that there was going to be a top layer.
Yeah.
And that top layer is about a half an inch and a millimeter.
Yeah.
So when I got it all up and I put it
Is
together,
all the popcorn still on the ceiling?
yeah. Well, look, it's I don't know what you call it. It's a textured ceiling, not quite popcorn, but it's got a small texture to it.
Got a little bit of texture.
A little texture to it. And I couldn't attach the top part. So I was smart enough to know I'm not going to attach it all because when you tilt it up to the ceiling, everybody knows when you tilt up, you need some clearance for the tilt or it wouldn't go up. So I made it straight and made the last layer so I could put it on, but I was going to have to like finagle a way to screw it on some extra way. And I put it up there and like it was not fitting. So I had to like tap it into place and it's not going to go anywhere because it's frictioned in there. But we'll maybe put a picture on Facebook or something so you guys can see it. But it has all my Game Boy stuff there now.
Sure.
Any other pickups, Adam?
No,
Sorry.
that's all my pickups. I've been playing a few things. I've been playing Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U with my kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I highly recommend that for anybody that's going to play with kids because you can have 2 player on the screen at the same time, kind of like the new Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
But you can also put it on a really easy mode. And if you're playing with a 3-year-old who isn't so good with controllers yet, when you get to places where you have to jump and do a lot of stuff, you can eat him and make him an egg. And then drag him with you.
Drag him with you.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it's really smart because I can eggify him and then I can do whatever needs to be done, get to the next platform or whatever, and then I just uneggify him and he can get
spit
out.
him
and
out.
play. Yeah, and he doesn't even know any different, you know.
Yep.
And so he's just in and out of the game as as I see fit, depending on whatever's going on. So
That's funny.
It's actually really good for that sort of thing, and just as an aside, the Yoshi's Woolly World. If you don't like the art direction and all that kind of stuff, you're just too hardcore. But it's like the cutest game ever.
Yeah, because it's like a yarn. Type
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
yarn scrapbooky kind of thing. Of course, I've been playing Zelda still. I've been playing Metal Slug 1 actually quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Oh, Metal
lately.
Slug, yeah.
And Neo Turf Masters for Neo Geo and
Nice.
And then the Telltale Batman game.
Nice.
Okay, still playing that. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. I like. I'm still playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Like I've said the last 2 episodes, it's still a great game, but I'm like having to slowly work through it
Yeah.
because I have a
put some hours in on that one, though.
7-week-old. Yeah, I haven't done much this last time, but it's still a super great game. And it's sold really well, so luckily that was an exclusive that like actually hit. So that's awesome. So you'd see sequels and stuff, but brilliant game. Already talked that one up. I did hit an Easter sale of a video game store, buy 2 get 1, because I don't unfortunately on weekends I have baby duty because the wife has them for most of the week as far as like taking care of them, so she gets to do some stuff on the weekend, so I can't do any swap meets and stuff or garage sales. So I went to the store after work and I ended up picking up again. Never thought of it. I don't collect Super Nintendo. I picked up a Super Nintendo game, Blackthorn.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been after the 32X version for a while.
Oh, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
So that game's pretty good. It ended up, I just heard of it and I was like, it's right, make it free and it was going to make it pretty cheap. Man, Blackthorn is a good Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I would have
It's a good
suggested that.
32X game too, but it goes for like $200 on
Yeah,
the 32X.
I thought it was like a
It's
Native
crazy.
American, but it's like I don't know. It's called. I looked it up. It's called a cinematic platformer, and it's made by Blizzard of all things. So if you see Blackthorn, man,
Blizzard, that's a video game company?
PC game company, isn't it? Yeah, but it plays really well, and it's like got you got this shotgun, and it's kind of what did you describe it as? It was kind of like a Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, or flashback type, where it's kind of like each screen you have to do something else, and you can't really like run through it. Or should I say, like each screen is new, so it doesn't scroll.
I always thought the character in it kind of looked like a beefed up Steven Seagal.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he was Native American, but it turns out they're on a totally different planet. They just kind of made his art style kind of look like that. But even Blackthorn, and in Europe, it's called Black Hawk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like I think they're going for that aesthetic, but it's really cool. Like something that was in the reviews for it, where it's rated really well. When you can have prisoners on this planet that you're freeing, but after you gain information from them, you can shoot them. And I didn't know that would happen, because most of the time you see a prisoner in a thing and he's chained up, it's like, oh, and I would just
I wonder if you can do that in the European version. No, I'm serious. Oftentimes in European versions, they take that kind of stuff
out. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you just basically execution style shoot them and they like die, and you're like, whoa, but you don't have any health, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I basically talked to every prisoner and then just shot them afterwards, because it was like super weird, because it was like Super Nintendo. Like I didn't know this kind of stuff went on, but it's a really cool game. Pick that up. Jurassic Park. I think I've said before, I really love that movie.
Is that a movie?
Franchise? Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
you're not wearing the shirt right now.
He's wearing the underoos.
Oh man. Okay, so I happen to be wearing a Jurassic Park shirt. Listen, I only own 3 of them. I only wear them on the weekends. Jeez, I'm a nerd. Anyway, I never played for Super Nintendo. They had a box version. I don't normally pick up box stuff, but
I don't
it ended
collect
up being,
Super Nintendo. I don't like box.
I know. I'm saying that. I picked up 2 Super Nintendo games, 2 of them, and I suggested a good one, Sky Blazer. Don't forget to play it. But I got it. It was in perfect shape. It even had every single insert inside. They only went, like, it ended up being like $18 or something like that for complete version. It still was in this little plastic, and it had the original receipt in there.
Yeah, that's super
from
cool.
Bannister Mall, which is now leveled.
Yeah,
it's not, it doesn't exist.
I've got a deluxe set NES in box with Rob the Robot and all that kind of stuff.
Does it have a receipt in there?
It's got the receipt in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's like, who is this person in 1993 that kept all this? Because also that game, I didn't show you guys. I only showed you a picture. I mean, not only is that the cardboard just doesn't feel brittle at all. It looks like it just came out. Yeah. Had all the inserts in it, the receipt from a place called Babbage's.
Yeah, Babbage's.
I never heard of that.
Never heard of it.
Oh yeah, you guys didn't have Babbage's?
Not that I remember.
Well, they must have been, because Bannister Mall is
yeah,
in
they're
the
just
city.
like Funko Land. I actually think maybe it was the same company as Funko Land. I'm
They're
not sure
still in
about that,
Europe,
but
I think, 'cause
Very similar place though.
I've seen pictures of them in Europe or whatever, but I didn't think they were ever a U.S. store. Babbage's, 1993 in June.
See, where I grew up, we didn't have Funko Land. We had Babbage's. Like that was our Funko Land.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, and I had Funko Land all the time. It came out which now is GameStop. But yeah, it was $59.99, 1993. Someone paid for it, and we should be pretty happy. I know like new games are pretty expensive. They haven't really changed in price.
No.
Yeah, it's like 20-ounce pops. You know, they stayed about $1 forever.
Yeah.
You know, they've gone up above that now, but they went from like $1 to like $1.60.
Yeah.
or $2 or something like that. It was kind of weird because they just stuck at $1. For like 20 years, and then they're like, well, if we're going to go above $1, we're just going to the next $1.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of why Nintendo has so much money now, for sure. Another game I played, Parappa the Rapper, was my first PlayStation game.
Yep.
Way back in the day.
Nice.
They have it on PSN, and I ended up buying that late at night. And that
You
is the
gotta
one
believe.
game I played. Yeah. You gotta believe.
Did you punch, kick?
Yeah, and it was all in my mind. So that game, okay, still, I don't know if you guys remember, that game is harder than...
It's super hard.
Yes,
and don't look at
oof.
the thing that's always killed me on Parappa is they have this little, this little beat meter thing up at the top.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'm going to hit it when the little lines. Don't do that. Just listen to it and play it to the sound.
I don't even think to the beat. You say that, but like I looked online because there's this huge conspiracy theory, like websites devoted to why Parappa is so hard. It's an early, for those who don't know, it's an early rhythm game, like the earliest rhythm game. And I couldn't beat the 4th level to save my life. And I don't think it's the HDTV. It's like online. It's
it's hard. I remember back in the day it was hard.
Yeah, and I have a music degree, right? I went to college for music. I can't get past the 4th level of this thing. And I've tried either listening to the music, or I found I actually get better when I just, see, you say it works better for you the other way. I watch the little scrolly thing and hit them right on the beat. and I can't beat it. I can't get past this chicken level where you're making a cake. cheap. And
the chicken cake conundrum.
Oh, man. And those wraps are still really good, man. Parappa the Rapper.
That's solid, man.
Oh, man. And it looks really good in HD. You can download the demo if you have your PlayStation 3 or 4 or whatever. You can download that for free and just see what we're talking about or what I'm talking about. But I ended up playing that. I never played Parappa 2. You guys are on Jammer or Lammy or anything like that? Yeah.
They say Jammer Lammy's the best of them.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. And they made Parappa the Rapper for the PSP. I did buy that. You can get that on Amazon still new for like $8 or $9. So if you have a PSP, I would grab that. But it's just like the rest where it's super hard and I can't get past the super hard.
I was forcing my kid to listen to Parappa the Rapper, the soundtrack.
Really?
What weeks ago. Yeah, my wife comes in. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you listening to?
What are you doing with your life?"
Parappa the Rapper? She's like, "Parappa the huh?"
Yeah.
she's like, "This is horrible."
It is a super weird
And
game.
I'm like, "No, you had to be there."
Yeah, it was a time and
You had
place.
to be there in 1995 or
1997.
97, when that came out.
I remember that. Yeah, that was my first game. I got that in Tomb Raider and with the newfangled PlayStation, which we didn't mention. But if you have a PS1, maybe just go for a PS2 because those PS1s are generally kind of done in the dirt by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of PS1s.
Yeah. That's all we picked up. Yeah. So this episode, I really hope we didn't bore you. This is kind of like some people asked about that. And I think that those are some tips we have for new collectors. Our next topic for our next episode, we might have a special guest on, but our next proper episode, we're going to talk about some of our early memories, early video game memories, early consoles, early systems, kind of the start, the birth of our
memories.
Yeah, kind of like we did with arcade memories, except starting it off with that. And since that's kind of going to be a smaller topic, we're hoping to have some good info from Super Bitcom. Hopefully, we're going to have some good stories, some good pickups. Going to go to a video game convention, try to support your nearest one, or they're a lot of fun. So we're going to be there. So we won't have another proper new episode for 3 weeks. And that will be our next topic. And then for our video game book club, do not forget that EX Harrier, right?
Yep,
EX Harrier for the Sega Genesis is the pick by Ian, one of our listeners. Make sure to write in if you've got a suggestion for a video game book club. And then my pick for the Super Nintendo, Sky Blazer.
Sky Blazer.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Episode 11. We appreciate all your support.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Yeah.
Write
All right,
us a
guys.
review. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook. Happy Easter. We love all our listeners. Episode 11 is in the books.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed that music, please check out Evan King on Bandcamp for further details, and you can download some for yourself. Thank you.
Bye-bye.